man.
You been all right?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad.
Brilliant.
Not bad at all. Bit hot.
Very lovely day today, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I've been out in the sun all day, so.
We're live, mine. You know that, don't you?
No.
You've pressed the live already. You got.
Are we live now? Yeah.
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 Because no. Hello and good evening to all of you in the UK and to everyone else wherever you may be. Welcome to Spurs Diehards TTID Tuesday edition. Tonight we've got a good panel for you and more guests to come. We've got quite a bit to get through tonight. So without further ado, I will introduce you to our guests. We always start with the guests first, then the mods and then the admins. Right. Jose, how are you, my mate? Happy birthday, by the way, to Jose, everyone in the chat.
Thank you.
Well, happy birthday.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. As I said, I've been out all day.
21 today.
Been out all day with the family. I've just got back from Steakhouse when Ellie gave me the call. Couldn't answer the phone, but messaged her, and finally I'm here. So yeah,
It's all right.
I'm hot. Yeah,
I'm
I'm hot.
It's too
Mod
bloody
Mark,
hot.
how are you? How are you today?
All is good, mate. All hot and bothered. Yeah. I'm looking forward to winter already. No, I'm not. I love this weather.
Right. TJ, how are you, my friend?
I am. The heat is melting my body. I'm actually all right. Thank you for having me on again. Time to talk about Spurs, but I've been good. How have you been?
I've been fine. Queen Ellie, Her Majesty is in the building. Fellow admin, how are you?
I haven't been fine because I'm bloody sweating like TJ. I had to change 3 times today. Honestly, I went down Enfield Town just to sort out a few things, and I came back all hot and bothered. But I'm still a Spurs fan. That's the main thing.
Right, okay. We have got other guests that will be coming on late as it happens, so we'll start. Right, tomorrow, for those you don't know, we have a game. We have another pre-season friendly in Korea, Seoul. Team were given a raucous welcome. I mean, a fantastic welcome by the Koreans out there. We are playing Team K All-Stars, and it looks like our new signing, Yang Min-hyuk, will start the game against us, which will be interesting to watch his play. Dragusin is available because he's now joined up with the squad. Richarlison and Udogie are unavailable. I still think they're going through the process of recovering. Timo's back, unfortunately. Ashley Phillips is a doubt because he pulled up in training. So, guys, I'll start with you, TJ, as you're a guest. What are you expecting from this game? Do you think Ash will start going a lot stronger now? He went pretty strong in Japan.
Yeah, no, for me, I want him to go strong. In fact, I want us to see our first team out there, the strongest it can be. I know it's a pre-season friendly, and I do definitely understand that you have to get minutes in all players, but I want to see us actually perform with our first team. And this might be very controversial, but I don't want to see as much, like, every single half he's been subbing one team and the other team. I want to see if our players can last the 90 minutes. And it might sound a bit daft in a preseason friendly, but we need to start playing as a team, as a unit. So I think it's important for us to start playing a first team squad. What that squad shows by, I think Mikey Moore has to obviously be included. I think Dragusin, I think it's too early to include him, but for me, I need to see a first team lineup, to be honest with you.
Jose, what would you like to see from tomorrow's friendly, which is noon, by the way, for those of you who've got Spurs play?
Or don't have Spurs play. It's still going to be at noon anyway.
True.
It doesn't mean Spurs played. It'll kick off at noon just for you. It kicks off at 12 o'clock noon for everybody in England.
I stand corrected. Go on.
What do I want to see tomorrow? Good evening, Has, by the way, sir. How are you, mate? I hope you're well.
Yeah.
I'll come to him next.
The Greeks are always late, aren't we, Has?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Is this
You know what they
karaoke
say?
time?
Better late than never.
Yeah.
Is this
Yeah,
karaoke time going on now?
Yeah, Kyriakou.
Yeah, karaoke time.
What I saw
Danny
on
Kyriakou.
Yeah.
what I saw on a shit out feed earlier was everything you said, Adrian, bar a doggy was going to be having a couple of sessions before the game. So a doggy could get minutes tomorrow. It might not have come too late. He might get minutes tomorrow. But what I'd like to see, personally, I would like to see Gray and Bergvall start in midfield tomorrow with one of Sarr or Bissouma or Madison. And I also want to see, I'd like to see Mikey Moore play from the start if possible, because I just want to see them three youngsters with the first teamers rather than come on in the second half with all the young ones. I just want to see what they look like with some of the older heads. So instead of coming on, like Grace played the first half, the others have all played the second half. I'd like to see a couple of them players play in the first half with some of the older heads, is what I'd like to see tomorrow. Just so we can see what they look like. What do they look like with what people are going to deem first teamers? Although my belief is that Graham Bergvall will be first teamers next year, i.e., they will be in and around the squad and the match day squads this
Mikey
season.
Moore should be in that category as well.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I'm not doubting you. I'm not doubting you, but I'm just saying for me, for definite, I think the other two will be. I'd like to say that Mikey Moore should be there and Donnelly should be there as well. If you're going to ask me outright, I'd like to see them all involved in the squad or in the B list next season. But I'm asked the question about tomorrow, and that's what I've said for tomorrow.
Right. Good evening, Has. How are you?
Hey, yeah, I'm good. You?
Good. Hope you're not. Everyone seems to be suffering in this brutal heat that we're never used to.
It's actually been okay. Like, it's more when I've been stuck inside that's been worse rather than outside.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So, what's your take on tomorrow's game? What do you want to see?
Well, first of all, unfortunately, I'm going to miss it because I'll be stuck at work, so I won't be able to see it. But I'm kind of like, I think they should carry on doing the same way they've been doing so far in the friendlies and just keep rotating the team every half. I don't think Dragusin's ready, so I don't think you should chuck him in right now. And I'd rather see, for me, I want to see the team we're going to play against Leicester like a week before. That's what I would earmark it as. So we're still 3 weeks away. I think, is it 3 or 4 friendlies left?
So, 3 games away. Our last game will be on the 10th of August against Bayern Munich before we start. Well, the season starts on the 17th for Saturday, but our game's on the Monday, isn't it? With the Monday
night. 19th, yeah. So, like, for me, I still think the youngsters need more minutes, like whether it's first half or second half. But for me, I'm on the opinion that we're just going to wait and see what happens with them in the long run, whether next season they step up or not, because I think people are getting a bit overboard about it already. about players, and I just think we just need to see how they do in a competitive game. But for tomorrow, again, it's against a weak opposition on paper, so just carry on going as we're going. And as we get to the buying game, the first buying game, I mean, I think I'd like to see more of the first team by that point. But for now, we've got 3 more friendlies before the home game and 2 more before the buying away game. So.
This is the point. You never know with Ange, because he squeezed that game in Japan and did that friendly, which the youngsters won 5-2, and Moore scored 2, Lancashire scored 2, and Velez scored 1 in that game. So it wouldn't surprise me if we squeezed another game in. But obviously, we've got to get home for Korea to do that, I think. So, Mark, what's your take on tomorrow's game? What do you want to see?
I agree with Gary's last comment, the one before this. Like that, nobody sees, nobody does 90 minutes. It's like 5 up. Well, he says no one. That's the one. No one does 90 minutes. I mean, the 2 Bayern Munich games is going to be the ones where you see the first team. But just do what they've been doing. Play the kids, swap it second half. Everyone's getting minutes in their legs. Hopefully no injuries. I mean, and I heard the building of the school, and that's on the way. With all our new signings.
Can I just answer that comment, because that was directed at me? Initially, definitely. I don't want to see our team play 90 minutes. I want us to pick our first team and carry on that rhythm, because the earlier we get to know what our team's going to look like, the better our system will function. So just to answer Gary's comment, because he's obviously saying nobody does 90 minutes. Obviously, 90 minutes in pre-season's bamboozling, but I just want to see a system with regular players carrying on playing in the same system. Because what we're seeing is 2 halves, 2 different teams, and we don't know where anybody's going to play. And sorry to cut in. I just wanted to address that comment.
On the show. Ellie, what's your take? What would you like to see tomorrow?
I want to see the players played in their rightful positions, first and foremost, because we've had players right out of position, and I think it's going to confuse the whole setup when we line up for the first game proper in the Premiership. I want to see, like TJ said and has very boldly put, that we need to get 90 minutes in some of their legs, right? Maybe not all of their legs, because some of those first teamers, they've been playing in Europe as well, in the Euro. So they've had minutes, especially Dragusin. He's had loads of minutes. All right, he got knocked out, but he still played full games, whereas Van de Ven didn't. So I want to get Van de Ven up to speed as well, because he's very vital to our defence. And Ashley Phillips, you say, is injured, so we're not going to see him, which is a shame, because he never really got a proper look in, which I felt very disappointed about, being that he's a unit and he can put it about a bit. But Jed Spence, another one, I want to see him get 90 minutes rather than 45, so we can see how he'll cope. I know it's not against weakened opposition, but you've got to beat the 11 in front of you. But I just feel like we haven't got any continuity going yet.
100%. Thank you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, sorry. Thank you. Perfect.
Can I make a point? Sorry.
Yeah, of course you can.
I'm disagreeing with you guys, and I'll tell you why. Because we already know what the first team can do, because we haven't bought any first team players to put in as new players. So it's not like we have to gel someone else in.
Okay, cool. I disagree with that comment. The reason being, look, I know we haven't bought no first team players, but Ange has clearly picked the players that he wants. Now, continuity and playing in a system regularly will help the youngsters understand the system. Not only the youngsters, the first teamers. Because one thing that we haven't seen is a clean sheet.
Yeah,
but you keep chopping and... So go for it, bro.
What was the whole point of last season then? Because that was meant to be the transitional season.
That's a different cool topic.
What was the whole point of last season then?
That's a different topic, brother. We can go on. We can bounce from each other.
Do you know what, TJ?
What I'm trying to say is we already know Vicario will be in goal. Van de Ven will play Romero. Porro and Dogu will play. The midfield looks like it's going to be Basuma, Sarr, and Maddison again. And because we didn't buy a forward, unless you can really count Werner, the front three will be Johnson, Son, and someone else.
But isn't this?
Already knows,
But isn't the pre-season an
knows.
opportunity to give youngsters like Mikey Moore, who's overperforming, a chance? Well, I'm not saying we have to jump the gun here, and I don't want to jump the gun. As you know, you've been streaming with me for a long time, but by you playing the same system, I know it's a pre-season. I know you can't expect a lot from a pre-season, but giving opportunities to these players, you would understand when it comes to the first game of the season against Leicester what to expect. Right now, none of us know what we're expecting. We don't even know our lineup.
It's because we're in the same system with the same players that we had last season.
I hope not.
The only difference might be is we might see just a few more youngsters on the bench, like Bergwijn and Gray and Mikey Moore maybe will be on the bench as well. I mean, because I don't really see any of those three starting on the get away to Leicester on the first game if we're being realistic. So what I'm trying to say to you is there's no rush for me to play first team players because we already know at this point in time, unless we sign like 2 or 3 players in the next week or something, or 10 days, that we know what 11 is going to play. And Ange knows what the 11 can do. We all know what the 11 can do. So playing them, rushing them, I think the pre-season right now, to me, is a bit of a waste. If we did it in the 2 buying games, I'd understand it because that's like 2 games before we're going to kick off. So, but now I think it's a bit too early. Yeah.
One thing I would say, guys, is what Jose picked up very nicely the other day on our stream when he said that the youngsters know the system better than the old ones, the ones who are established, and they've won things. They've been very successful and they know each other's play. It's like the class of 99 from Man United. They knew each other's play and it shows. Because when Donnelly set up Mikey Moore, that was telepathic. You know, he knew he was going to be there and he just crossed the beautiful cross and he scored simple goal. You know, that's what Postecoglou likes. He likes simple goals, 6 or 8 yards out, because that's when most goals are scored. All right. And he plays the ball in. And I think these youngsters are more suited to Postecoglou's style than the old guard. It's just my observation. And obviously, Jose picked up on it as well.
I'm just saying with these youngsters, for me, this is just my take, okay? I think we should ease them in, not like chuck them in straight away. We need to play, for example, against Leicester, as much as I disagree with the fact we signed no first team players, he needs to play the same 11 we had last season, because at least they know how to play together. Yeah. And then, if we're winning, say, 3-0 against Leicester, just for example, then you bring on the Bergwijns, the Donnellys, the Mikey Moores, because then it's a more easier ease into the like competitive football. Rather than, I know they've done it at youth level, but we're talking about the Premier League. This is like
I agree.
I think Gray starts against Leicester.
Right. On that, Jose, I'm going to come to you anyway, Jose, because I'm going to ask you all the same question here, right?
All right.
Do you think, Jose, we have more than a first 11 now to choose from?
No.
Jose, do you?
No.
Do we have more than the first 11?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Mark thinks he's Jose.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I do.
So if we coming from this season, like you said, we've brought in Gray and Bergwijn. I think they'll be part of the first 18, is what I call it, right? We brought those 2 in, all right? So that's 2 that I think we will. But, you know, what others do you think you would add to that?
What? Add to what? The 20 or the 25?
Well, look, when you look at it now, we've got 5 defenders and a goalkeeper, right? Including the additional centre back. That's 6. We got 7 midfielders. That's 13. We got 3. Well, we got, if you include Solomon, Decky, and all that, you know, we've got about 5 or 6 forwards. That's 18, and that's without, and that's including Graham Bergwijn anyway. And he has used all those players, not Bergwijn and Gray this season, obviously hasn't started yet, but he has used all those players. So he's used 16 or more players anyway, right? Which, you know, rotate them. Whether you like them or not, he has used them. Just think, well, do you think that Bergwijn and Gray improve us, Jose?
They improved the competition for me, and I said this the other day. I don't think Bergwijn and Gray have been brought in to play academy football. They've been brought in to ruffle feathers in the first team. And I think that they will ruffle feathers in the first team, because if you want what we all want and we all strive for is a team that has competition for places. And I think these two youngsters, they'll be championing a bit to oust some of the other midfielders that we currently have in the squad. The same Mikey Moore. I mean, people are saying he's too young and stuff like that. Age is nothing but a number, man. I mean, I look at Barcelona, right? And everyone keeps talking about ages, right? Barcelona have got Balde at left back, Pau Kabasi at centre half. They've got bloody Pedri and Gavi in midfield. They've got Fermin Lopez. You've now got the boy Yamin Lamau. They're playing all these youngsters and they're putting them in there and they're giving them opportunity. You've got other teams in Germany. They give youngsters opportunity. It doesn't go by age. It goes whether you're good enough to actually play. It doesn't mean that someone like Mikey Moore has to play every minute of every game. It doesn't have to play every minute of every game.
I would add a caveat to that.
Hold on. For the people that have watched Mikey Moore play, right, granted, and I'll say it to everyone, granted, it was Hearts, it was QPR, and it was Vissel Kobe. But the reason why we played them three teams in that order is because obviously we need to get minutes into our legs for pre-season. You played Hearts, who kick off their league next Saturday, right? So they're 2 weeks ahead of us in the season on pre-season. QPR kick off the week after next, so they're a week ahead of us. Vissel Kobe, although they're not a Premiership team, they're 24 games into a 38-game season. So basically, it's about us ramping up our fitness and our patterns of play and stuff like that before the season starts. Now, Mikey Moore can only play against who you put in front of him. Mikey Moore also played in the European Championships just as the season was ending, and Mikey Moore was a star turn in that as well. So to me, the boy can play football. Now, if he can play football, then why would you hold him back? Yes, he's got to be nurtured, he's got to be managed, but I wouldn't be just saying, let's only, like at the end of last season, he was only given 5 minutes at the end of a game, right? Here and there. 2 games, I think he got given 5 minutes in. If he's ready, right, and Ange Postecoglou and the coaching staff believe that he's ready, then even if he's coming off the bench, you should be giving him more than 5 minutes. Is he going to be effective, or does he look more effective than Werner? Does he look more effective than Manor Solomon?
Of course.
Hang on, I'm going to add.
Does he look more effective than Kulusevski playing on the right?
Of course.
This is what I'm saying. So if the boy doesn't forget about his age, let's put his age to the side now. If the boy is good enough, give him some minutes.
A chance. Exactly.
Just give him
That's
some
what
minutes.
this pre-season's for.
Yeah.
Before I come to Mark,
proving himself.
Before I come to Mark, the only caveat that I would add to the youngsters in Germany and abroad is the fact that they do not have the money Premier League clubs. Even the poorer Premier League clubs can go and fix a hole in their squad by buying a player. This is why the Europeans play their youngsters younger than ours. I mean, I'm not saying it's not because they're not better than ours at times, but it's the reason why they're usually further in their development than our players are, because they get played, because they have to be played, because that's just, that's the strength of their squads.
I agree with you. But in the last 10 years, there's only been one person that from world-class level that's come out. Sorry, hold on 1 minute. Sorry about that. Yeah. There's only been one person that has come out of our academy that is classed as world class, and that is who? Kane. So all the other teams in the Premier League, even you got Arsenal, you got Liverpool, you got Chelsea, you got Man United, you've got Man City, have produced their youth and has actually enhanced their youth. Why is Tottenham struggling to give opportunities to youth? That's the big question.
I think it's two issues.
I'll answer that in a minute. But I want to come to Mark and get Mark's opinion on
go for it.
Mark, do you think that? I'll come back to that. Mark, do you think that our first team squad is improved with Graham Bergvall or not?
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Reason why?
No, because now I heard this on another podcast. I forget which one it was, but big up to them. Right, you put these players in. They're going to get absolutely rinsed in the Premier League. And they are. This is the truth. They are kids. They are kids, and they are going to be rinsed in the Premier League. And then their confidence will go down. I mean, all right, they're good. They're good. I hold my hands up to that. But they're not experienced. They have no idea how the Premier League works. They are going to be rinsed. And until we bring experience and improve our actual first 11, we are going nowhere. I don't even want the season to start because I believe we definitely, unless we make some major signings before it starts, we are definitely not getting top 4. Definitely not. And I can see us 7th or 8th, honestly. And that's the truth.
Sorry, guys.
Right.
Yeah.
Ellie, what do you think? Do you think that
I disagree with Mark a bit because
I knew Ian would disagree with me straight away because
I disagree with you because I really do believe these youngsters have got something special, right? And I've seen it. Like at QPR, their movement, as soon as they came on, Mark, their movement was fabulous. Their energy, their enthusiasm to impress, right? And if you've got that at that age, you imagine how much they're going to develop. They don't have to play every game. What they can do is ease them in, right? And if they're good enough, they're old enough. And I just feel they need a chance because we can't keep on overlooking our youngsters and putting them out to slaughter, because at the end of the day, we're losing a lot of talent that we can nurture in our first team, right? And bring them on like we did with Harry Kane. And if we don't do that, we're going to lose them to other clubs and they're going to thrive with other clubs because these boys 100%. Are definitely talented.
You know, can I add something?
Unproven talents.
Can I add a little bit? It's the way you look at it, to be honest with you. For me personally, our goals is to win the title because Ange has said it. It's come out the horse's mouth. Without being disrespectful when I say that statement, his goals was from last season. He was talking about, I want to win the title. Now, does our team represent a title? No,
certainly not.
For me, if you're going for the title, you need to spend top dollar money. You need to buy players like a striker because we've lost Harry Kane. We need to spend money, and we're not spending money. We are technically spending money on our youth, but we're not improving our first team squad because everybody has a potential. Yeah. What happens when you're young? You learn to crawl before you walk. You can't just throw youngsters onto the pitch and expect them to perform like the best of the best. It's impossible. You have to give them time to adjust, right? So it's the way you look at it. If you're a fan that says, "Oh, the youth is really good," and what's going on with our youth setup? Yeah, then you subscribe to what Ange is doing with the youth, is giving them opportunities. I can see a future. But really and truly, it's come out the horse's mouth and said he wants to go for the title. So something's not right, to be honest with you. But
go for it. I've been waiting to land. So I'm saying that this last season was his season of grace with Ange, with basically 99% of the fan base, right? Because he could have used the youngsters last season, like the Dorringtons, even the Mikey Moores, you could argue, because he was still at the club, and other players that we've seen in pre-season, like Lancashire, even in games, because people gave him a free pass. This season, forget what I think. I'm just talking about the general fan base. There will be people who won't give him a free pass because it's season 2. At this point, like I argued earlier with TJ, you've already established your system. This is how you're going to play. Now at this point, you live by the sword, you die by the sword, sort of thing. So whatever you do now, I'm going to hold you accountable for, because the free pass is gone. So now it's even harder for him to plug youngsters because he's under way more pressure just by default. And also, I want to go back to, I know it sounds weird, but talk about summer 2005 or summer 2004. So this was Martin Yole's first transfer window. And we signed a lot of players of this age. I remember like Dorian Derviet, you guys probably don't remember his name, Reto Ziegler, players like this who are like 18, 19, and some of them did play in the first team, albeit Reto Ziegler was one of them, sort of top of my head. But that was different because that was his first season. So he was kind of given, again, a grace season at that point because Joel took over in the middle of the last season before. But we're 20 years later doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we doing? Because to me, I just look at the way what we're doing now is the same as we were doing 20 years ago. And which begs the point as to why we built the stadium, because we're just repeating the same thing we did 20 years ago. When
Quite
we
right, Has. Quite right.
You know what we're doing, brother? We're making money so it can go into Levy's pocket.
Yeah.
Have Bayern Munich built a new stadium?
Yes. Well, that Alliance Stadium, how old is it? When it was the Olympics,
okay. It's not brand new now. It's not brand new now, is it? No. Okay. Just asking because they've bought Elise. They're going for Douay. They're going for youngsters. They're not going for older first team type players. They're going for youngsters. They haven't got a new stadium. Okay. Real Madrid have renovated their stadium, if you want, but they've gone for youngsters. So all these people, Dortmund go for youngsters. In Spain, they're all trading and buying youngsters. So it's not just Tottenham. There are other clubs doing it. Yes, we happen to have built a stadium 5 years ago, but other teams are doing it as well. They're going for
I wasn't alluding to the stadium. For me, it was just we're repeating the same thing we did 20 years ago.
Right. Well,
again,
there's a big point here, guys. I'm going to throw a couple of facts at you because when I last checked, only 3% of Premier League academy players come through their academies and make it as a member of their 25-man squad, let alone their first team. Right? Now, with Spurs, when people have been saying, why don't they play the youngsters? Ellie knows because me and Ellie have been to loads of academy games, watch the women play, blah, blah, blah. Now, with Spurs, all right, last year, the 17 seasons, they won a couple of League Cups, won both the League Cups. Mikey Moore played in both the finals, right, because he's young. But the under-21 team last year, the year before last, was pants. Wasn't it, Elliot? It was pants.
Yeah, they were rubbish.
These kids, we've brought a load of kids in now, or a few of them have kicked on or they've come from the younger side into this team. That's why we're looking good and people are screaming for them to play. There's 3 of them I would play, right? I mean, those 3 of them I would definitely bring into the first team squad, in my opinion, for what it's worth, but it's only without including 1 or 3 strikers, right? I would.
You've got Soren waiting to come in, apparently.
Sorry, I'll get him in.
He's on a private chat.
I can't see him. Oh, here he is. All right, okay.
Yes.
I'll come to you in a second. I would have no qualms about bringing in Donnelly, Mikey Moore, or Alfie Devine into that squad. With the striking situation, because we've still got Richarlison, I don't believe he's going, simply because is there enough time to bring 2 strikers in? So I think we may keep 1 or more because the rumour is today that Lancashire's going out on loan. He's 19. He's still got plenty of time to develop. There should be no rush for him. Whereas Velez and Scarlett, they're both in their 20s now, perhaps approaching 21. So I see 1 or both of them staying and us bringing in a striker.
Vitas Arnhem, Adrian. Vitas Arnhem have asked about taking Scarlett for a season-long loan.
Well, he may well go. I'd actually like to see if I had to pick 1 out of 2. Although Scarlett scores lots of goals for England, he's not in the fans' eyes at the moment because Lancashire scored 23 goals in 22 games, and Scarlett always scores away from England. He's bulked up a lot. He has bulked up a hell of a lot, actually, and he can finish that kid. That goal he scored against Shakhtar Donetsk when Kane scored 4 and we beat them 5-1 or whatever it was, that was a striker's goal, So, and he is a talent. I've watched him play for the under-21s before last season, and I've seen this kid play. And when you get 1 player out of 22 on the field that stands out, he was that man. He's got now. Will he have a career at Spurs? I don't know. Will he have a good footballer career? Yes, he will. Definitely. And he will score goals wherever he goes. How many? Will he become a top-class striker, a real top-class? Who knows? But he's got it. He's got the knack of scoring goals. Right. Good evening, Soren. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
We've been discussing tomorrow's game and who the guys would like to see play, whether we should now start focusing on the main players who might start against both games in Bayern before the season starts, or whether Ange will still shift things around. If we were winning comfortably at half time, would he make changes for the sake of it or whatever? What's your take?
I think we need to start starting the ones that we're expecting to be the main part of the squad. Probably the first half, just put what he considers to be the strongest 11 that are available at the moment. And then second half, I wouldn't make as many wholesale changes. I would bring in 3 or 4 and then maybe 3 or 4 halfway through or something like that, and do it like almost 3 games in one. But he certainly needs to keep playing the youngsters. I think he's probably still undecided with 1 or 2 of them. And I think listening to what's been said, I think the youngsters are getting a bit of a hard time with it. You know, not so much that they're not good enough, but we've got to start believing in these youngsters. That's the future of our team. And to say there is, we need to start signing experience. Yeah, I agree with that. We do need to sign some experience, but let's not forget we've got plenty of experience in that squad already. So, I think the meltdown of our fan base is just quite, it's beyond words. Let's just wait and see what happens. But yeah, I think the game, start with the strongest 11 and just keep bringing 1 or 2 on to see how they fit in once you're playing that game.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's move in on a little bit. We sort of discussed the game. On the subject of our under-21s, we've sold Santiago to Spanish secondary club Elche. It's a done deal. I was disappointed in this.
That's a disappointing move.
Very disappointing.
I don't know. He's Spanish. I'm going to come to you, Eltel, as you've got a Spanish flavour to you.
I think he's gone. He's come back. That's good.
Have you watched Santiago play at all? Much of him?
I haven't watched him as much as you guys that have been to watch the under-21s or the people that have got Spurs play. But I've watched enough to show me a talented boy. But when him and Noel John's going to be out the door as well, by the way. He's not going to survive either, because when they put them 2 in, they were the 2. I remember me saying that they were the 2 unused substitutes. It was a squad of 29 we took to Hearts. 27 players played. And the 2 that didn't play were Santiago and Noel John. And then for QPR, them 2 weren't included in the squad, and they were thrown back into the 21s because we played Cambridge or someone like that at the same time. Then they played the other night for the 21s. I knew straight away last season Santiago wasn't given any chance whatsoever. No minutes. Appeared on the subs bench, I think about 3 times last year, but did not get 1 minute. And for me, I said it a few weeks ago, I thought Santiago would go. But I also think Noel John's another one that's going as well. I don't think they're going to be kept on as first team players. They've both reached 21, I believe. And, although it's sad to say, because you like him a lot, Adrian, I know that. You had plenty of time for him.
He's a baller.
Yeah,
I'm disappointed. He's a baller, bro.
Yeah, but the thing is, Tottenham obviously don't think he's good enough to make the grade at Tottenham. And what's alarming, right, is that Elche from the 2nd division have come in for him. Not a team from La Primera, from the 1st division. It's Elche from the 2nd that have gone for him. So,
I don't know if he's got any connection with that part of Spain, which might have attracted him to that club. I don't know.
Maybe.
It does seem a bit strange, Jose. But
yeah, no one else has gone for him. No one else, not even any other Premiership clubs bid for him. And they've seen him playing in Premier League 2. They've seen him come through the academy. And we know that we've bought players from other people's academies, and vice versa. People have bought our players, or taken our players on from our academy as well in the past. There's a lot of horse trading that goes along, and no one wanted Santiago. Disappointing it may well be, but that's the fact of the matter. No one wanted him, and he's ended up at Elche.
Have any of you ever seen Santiago play?
I met him. I've met him a few times. I can't tell you who I know in it from the youth academy, but I was given an opportunity to meet a few of them, and he's a baller. I promise you, he's a baller. He knows what he needs to do in it. Basically, I think it's a good opportunity for him, even though it's a loss for Tottenham. because clearly his career wasn't going anywhere, and it gets quite frustrated if you're just playing in the academy level and you're not getting any opportunities. Hopefully, look, for me personally, look, it doesn't kill me to say goodbye, but look, he's going to get some first team. He's going to be playing in an environment that he wants to play in. Cool, he can do what he needs to do. But I've seen him a couple of times. He's a baller. He's really good with his feet. It's just a shame that nothing kind of like, he never got opportunities again. Like, this is the biggest problem. I think this is the first year that we've seen quite a few of the youngsters gain opportunity. Obviously, the under-21s last year, even also the under-18s done really well, So you expect a few of them to just kind of like bounce off of into this. Okay. In the dream world, you would expect opportunities to get given. But if Tottenham don't rate him, what can you do? You can't really do nothing about it, can you?
I mean, I agree with you there. I think he is. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of him, but what I have seen, he looked a decent player. But I think basically what he's probably done is he's gone to a team where he knows he's probably going to start, going to get plenty of minutes, and that might just kickstart his career fully. It's one of those that I think we're precious over all our youngsters. We don't want any of them to leave, and we all hope that they're going to come through and be well beaters. Unfortunately, you're going to keep losing an odd youngster. Don't matter how we feel. Maybe they've just looked at him like we've said and just thought he's not going to fit the system long term. And if he's turned around and said, I want to be starting, I want to play football, then you can't really stand in the way, can you? You've got to let these kids go. If he stays at Tottenham and stays in the under-21s and goes out on loan, it's kind of stifling his career. So you've got to think of them as much as think of the club. So look, he's moved on. Yeah, I think it's kind of telling that no other team have really come in for him, but it's not always obvious that these players are going to work for you. So wish him luck and hope he does well where he's gone. And maybe one day he'll come back. We might have a buyback clause. I don't know what the contract says, but if not, maybe one day he'll make it well and say, look, this is what you've lost.
He'll probably win something. I can guarantee you.
Yeah, exactly.
He'll win a trophy as soon as he leaves.
That's what he said. I want to win a trophy. Let me go.
Yeah. The Spanish second division. He'll win that immediately.
Did we not just win a trophy? We not just won World Challenge Cup or something?
Oh yeah. Well, is it the Kings of Japan or something we are now? Or
World Challenge? Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
That trophy room's full now. There's no more room in there.
No. I forgot about that.
So, guys, we'll move on to the striker situation and mention the three youngsters. I mean, like Will Lancashire, for those that you don't know, I mean, he scored 23 goals in 22 games last season for the under-21s. Missed a few. I see games when he wasn't at his best. Missed a few as well. But then you've got Velez, who we paid 20-odd mil for, and you've got Dane Scarlett, who always seems to score for England when he's on a tournament out there, which most fans are poo-pooing, because if you're not in the limelight, you're not scoring goals, all of a sudden you're rubbish. He's not, though. I'll tell you that he's not. He's a good player. And, so it looks like a decision's being made. I mean, like, that Lancashire will go out on loan. What's your take? TJ, do you think we're going to keep one or both of Scarlett and
me personally? Me personally, I think it's a good move. Although we definitely need a striker. I don't think the striking option is there. We need better than a youth. We need a world-class striker. We need a striker that's gonna finish. Hold up play, finish, a predominant striker that knows what he's doing. And I think we're putting too much faith in Dane, we're putting too much faith in Villiers, because I think his career has started really slowly as well. You know, he hasn't picked up any trees, but I think it's a good move for him. He's young. A loan would be the only option for me personally. I didn't see him adventuring into the first team because I just don't think he's good enough. Okay, when I say good enough, I don't mean it in a rude way, but I just don't think he's at the level that we need. You know, we struggled last year in that striking position. We were deciding to put Son in strike, and we were trying to figure out who's going to play that strike. Do you think we're going to push a youth in? I think we definitely need a real goal scorer, whether it's Ivan Toney, whether it's whoever, you know. But we definitely need a predominant striker. But I think it's a good move. I think it's a good move.
I'm going to come to you because you mentioned the fact that I didn't get up to speed on this. I didn't see anywhere that Scarlett may be going out to Holland to play on loan because our strikers seem to go out there. So
I'm not saying he's definitely. I know
no, I'm not saying it either. But if there's
coming for him,
then it looks like we'll be keeping Velez, doesn't it? I don't think he'll be going out on loan.
I mean, I said when I was asked this question by Ian on this channel on Sunday, I said that for me, if I look at the three of them, and I went in order of Lancashire would definitely go out on loan, but with Lancashire, he did it in PL2 last year. People forget he did it in PL2, but there's also PL1, which is a higher league, right? Which Man United won. But he did it in PL2 and he looked comfortable in PL2. But it was down to our coaching team and down to the people at Tottenham to decide what's best for him. Where do they gauge Lancashire at the moment? Do they gauge him as a Div 2 player, a Div 1 player, or Championship? Because wherever they've got him pigeonholed to, that will be the loan that he then gets. So that they've got to decide that on Lancashire. I mean, you're saying that Lancashire, so Tottenham have made am I right in saying that you're saying that Tottenham have now made a decision that he's going to go on loan?
No, I don't know. I was picking up on you. If it is him, then I'd bet money that Eloge Velez would stay.
Yeah, no, I'm saying Lancashire. Did you not say that it looks like Tottenham have decided to let him go on loan?
Yes, that has been been virtually said.
So that's what's been said, but no one has said what league that they're prepared to let him go out to, right? With Dane Scarlett, what I said about Dane Scarlett on Sunday was Dane Scarlett has bulked up. He now looks like a man and not a boy anymore. He looks like he's put on the, you know, he does. He now looks like a fully grown man. He didn't before, but now he does. Dane Scarlett plays for the development under-20 England squad, right? And he does well for the development under-20. Dane Scarlett hasn't broken into the England under-21s as yet. So last season, he went out on loan to Ipswich for the first half of the season. Didn't get a sniff at all at Ipswich. Ipswich ended up winning the league. You've got to then turn around and say that the manager was probably right, probably brought him in for the right reasons, saw that he had a team and he didn't need him to play, and then he didn't end up playing, which then meant that he came back to us in the second half of the season. And we had injuries. And because we had injuries, Scarlett pinched, and I say pinched because we hardly used youngsters last year. He got given 5 minutes here and 5 minutes there towards the end of the season, right? So for me, I was saying on Sunday that I would look at Scarlett either getting a championship loan again, but playing this time, not like he did Ipswich last year, or another Premiership team that can do with a striker, right? But it now appears that the Dutch team, I think it's Vitesse Arnhem, have actually inquired about taking him on a season-long loan. And on Sunday, I said that the person who's had the most first-team football, albeit not at Tottenham, but he's had the most first-team football out of them three, is Alejo Velez, because he was a first-teamer for his team in Argentina before we signed him. Now, Velez is not the answer for Tottenham. Tottenham need a striker. We need 100%. A striker. But
we need a potent striker.
Yeah, we need a striker. But if you've got Velez there, then Velez can learn off the strikers that we've got. Providing we bring one in, Velez can learn off him and see whether he can also get minutes here, there, and in the cups and stuff like that. But if you're asking me, out of the three, that's what I said on Sunday. And today, I'm still of that opinion. I didn't know on Sunday that Lancashire was going and that Scarlet was going, but that was my opinion Sunday, and it's still my opinion today.
Mark, your take on our strikers? Would you keep any of those three or not?
Well, we need a proven one. We need Tony. We need Tony as soon as possible.
Okay.
You know, because I know I keep going on about the youngsters, but they're not going to win you championships. I mean,
I agree.
You've got to remember, and this is from Angie's mouth. Next season, I want us to be challenging for the title.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to?
I don't see how. I think he was smoking something when he said that. You know.
No. Well, he did say it.
Smoking the green hashish.
Yeah, well, he did say it though. But are we going to? No, we're not. No, we're not, because we got hardly any proven. Right, these kids, Archie Gray, Bergvall, they look good. They do look good, but they're all unproven. I mean, they might do well, and I might have to come on here and apologise. But
they're in a different position in the field, which is a bit.
Yeah. No.
If you miss chances like Werner and Johnson, the fans are going to be right on your case, right?
Well, of course they are. Of course they are, and rightly so. And
I agree with TJ.
And rightly so. And rightly so. And rightly so. But we need proven players in the team. We are not going to win. We are not going to win a cup or the league with a load of kids.
With strikers, it's vital, and I've been banging on about goals on every podcast I've been on. But my main concern is not that these young kids don't look good. I'm not worried about the midfielders or Mikey Moore, Donnelly. I'm not worried about them at all. They'll be fine, right? But up front, your young strikers are facing experienced defenders.
Of course they are.
You're not going to get the same chances because you'll be cut out. And also, when you're that young, you lack the guile that comes with getting experience as a striker, you know, to get a bit of space, get a shot off, things like that, make the right decisions. So it's the guile that an experienced striker's got, you know, that gets goals, you know. So
right now, I just got one more thing to say, right? We built £1 billion. I said, no, I nearly said million, £1 billion stadium, right? At the time when it opened 5 years ago, we were told, you know, it's going to put us up there. We'll be challenging. When is this likely to happen? You know,
never, man. No. Never until exactly. You know what you have to do. You know what you have to do in order for us to go forward. And we can go through this argument, but it's true. When you run a business so poorly, you expect poor. Yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah. You know, honestly, I
we royally messed up.
Honestly,
let me be honest with you. This striker situation should never have happened. We royally messed up, and I'll tell you why. In a normal team, we lose our main man. They replace him with a world-class or a like for like.
Yeah.
Not Tottenham.
No. Well, as soon as Richie turned up, I knew that was Harry's replacement, because I knew, because Harry wasn't going to hang about, and I don't blame him.
But honestly, can I just come in? I'm going to chime in on this stadium malarkey business, right? Arsenal left Highbury, created the effeminates, and what happened to Arsenal? Whilst having to pay that stadium off, Arsenal fell off a cliff. They lost all their best players. They couldn't attract any players. And now that they've paid off that stadium now, which is nearly 20 years later down the line, right? And they weren't getting favourable. They didn't get favourable terms like Tottenham have got in when they're building their stadium. The terms that Arsenal got were far worse than what we've got. Now, it took them all that time to pay that stadium off, and now they're reaping the benefits. But they went through barren spell, a big time barren spell. So part of the argument, and I understand part of the argument, but I've got to caveat the argument with, we've built a new stadium. If the money's going to come in for that stadium, we still need to pay. So every season,
I agree.
There's an amount of money. I don't know how much it is, TJ. I don't know how much.
No. I agree with you, but can I just add something onto what you've just said? I agree with you to a certain extent, but when you're when our owners haven't won a trophy for 15 and a quarter of a year, regardless if Arsenal have moved from Highbury to wherever, regardless if they've come to North London, the problem is, since Levy has come to town, we have been a failure. A failure.
Yeah.
A failure. Because at least Arsenal have won trophies. At least Man City have won trophies. At least Liverpool have won trophies. There's about 10 teams in the last 15 years.
Won the FA Cup.
Oh, talk about it. Cool. The problem we have is we left White Hart Lane. Oh, someone's calling my name.
DJ, don't forget, you say we've been a failure. We had the chance to win the European Cup. We had the chance to win an FA Cup. We had a chance to win another Carabao Cup. We had the chance to win the league. We fucked up. That is not Daniel Levy's fault.
How is that not his fault?
No. Okay, cool. So we're going
to... How is it his fault?
Because I'll tell you. Wait. Hans. No, Hans, you have to. Wait. Hans, you have to have a logical. No, don't just come shouting. I agree with a certain extent. We've got to the point where we've gone to Champions League, Carabao Cup. What was the other one? FA Cup. But you need to understand, if your team is not successful, if a business is not successful, what ends up happening? It's false.
The head of the business gets sacked.
And I only judge success over trophies. Teams that are successful win trophies, and Tottenham hasn't been successful.
That team got to a Champions League final
by luck.
By luck.
It was by luck. I'm sorry, we had the luckiest.
2 seasons without a transfer in that season. 2 seasons without a transfer.
Guys, let someone finish before you cut in. Yeah? You'll all get your say.
Every game to get to that point where we won them games, we could have had bad luck and lost. Well, football is a game of luck. We got to the final. And then going back to the stadium, let's not forget, out of those 5 years, 2 seasons were played behind closed doors.
True.
So,
okay, that's true. Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
We go on, and like Jose said, I think the big difference between us building a stadium and Arsenal building a stadium is we've got far better terms, and we've already shown to a certain extent that it's not such a big drop off to us as what it was to Arsenal. It affected Arsenal far more than it has affected us. Arsenal are now showing the benefits of that stadium. We're all sat here saying, "Oh, well, we've had this stadium for 5 years."
The question I'm going to ask you: are we a successful team?
Even during that time period, Arsenal paying it off, they still won FA Cups.
Yeah, and I agree.
That's why I just asked. Are we a successful team?
Yes and no. I think yes and no is the answer.
So, what do you deem success? What do you deem success? Yeah, because I'm a logical guy. Like, I like to understand your point of view before I put you apart. Like, like if you're gonna have an argument with me, there has to be context. What do you deem success? Because for me, I'm younger than you, and I have seen my team fail all my life.
Yeah, and I get that.
Which for me is not a successful team. Now, regardless if you finish second, nobody sees who finished second. The time when we were going for the title against Leicester, it was only us and Leicester.
Yeah, and we
still finished third.
And we still finished third.
But the point was, we could have very easily won it had we not cocked it up. Had the team not cocked it up.
But we could have easily won it if we bought in January instead of standing still.
Yeah, we did stand still in January because Levy never put his hand in his pocket.
But
so again, that's down to
the team. It is down to Levy.
The team was still good enough to have won the title that year.
Well, that's debatable because we need more than just 11.
We never had the backups.
To the point,
definitely not.
Up to the point of 10 games to go, we were still in the race.
Doesn't mean that we were going to win it.
Well, it doesn't mean to say that the team wasn't good enough then, neither does it?
And why did
we needed
the last, same as getting to the Champions League final. The team was good enough to get to the Champions League final.
I don't agree with that.
My take on this was that The stadium opened in
sorry about that.
2019. The stadium opened in 2019, and then later on, Poch did get on Don Belly. I mean, Celso came in, but he was on loan. He didn't sign until he was under Mourinho. The thing was, Poch was back too late, and he was crucified for it, right? Up until 2019, right? He wasn't back for 518 days in the transfer.
It's crazy. It's never happened before.
And since 2019, we've spent hundreds of millions of pounds on players. This is why I'm hoping for new structure at the club, all through the admin side, the footballing side. At last, the board, whether it's Levy or what, you know, maybe he got kicked in the head by a mule or something. He's woken up. I mean, and like it's come round to now that a whole recruitment staff, all through the academy levels, the coaching levels, been improved. And the reason youngsters hadn't played before was because before our complete youngster setup was crap. That was why. But it isn't now. It's changed. We have failed better in the transfer market recently, in my opinion. We still got a way to go. We've nearly really got all the deadwood out. Once Gill's gone, you know, we'll talk about those in a minute, you know. But like, we weren't back for them years. All the eggs were put in the basket of the stadium, and there weren't the funds available. And like Enoch were not going to dip into their pockets to spend any money, right? So we were screwed as a fan base. We were screwed. I mean, like, and we've had to suck it up. But now, he used the shotgun effect to get him free managers, and I knew that they would. I didn't know nothing about Spirito Santo, right? You know. But I knew, I mean, you knew before Jose comes in and Conte comes in that it's going to end badly, because it always ends badly where they've been. It's all about them. They're egocentric managers who think they're bigger than a football club. And as far as I was concerned, I was glad they were gone. Now, I know maybe half the fans listening or half the fan base either loved Conte, loved Mourinho, or loved both. I didn't. They were bad people to bring in after Poch. You know, we had... Before Poch, you had Redknapp and Jar. We were going the right way with the managers, even if the investment wasn't there, you know. And then Levy, like, brings in those managers, and then later on turns around and said, "We got our Tottenham back." Well, you're the one that fucked it up in the first place, you know. And he did. Yeah. He did screw it up, right? Yeah. He did screw it up, and I've got my reasons to gripe with it. I don't blame him for everything, but I'll hold his feet to the fire when I think like the next PR blunder comes along, or when I think he screws up. I think this time we have to get it right, and the fans are being asked to be patient yet again. And I think fans see things. They see things, and their hopes are up for the new season. Mine are, right? So we'll see. How
patient can fans be? That's the question I want to ask.
I'll be patient.
I think you've got that ingrained in your DNA that you're a fan for life, no matter how annoying a situation is or frustrating a situation.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, no, Adrian,
we're still always going to be a fan.
Honestly, but that was good. That was a good knockout. Yeah, no, that was good.
DJ, you may change your wife, right? You may change your girlfriend. You may ditch your family, but you never ditch your football team. You keep your football team forever, right? You don't do that. You know what I mean? It's in your blood. Once it's in there, you've got the fever. You're captured, mate. There's no escape. It's the Hotel California, right? Once you're in Spurs,
the only way out is in a box.
I remember one thing Klinsmann said about Spurs. Now, I know every fan thinks they're a football club and their fans are the best in the world. I get that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I remember Klinsmann at Tottenham, right? He did 2 stints, and he came out with a quote that really struck a chord with me. He said, after I think his second time at Spurs, he said, club. Something unique he said about this football club.
All right.
And you have to be a Spurs fan to understand. You have to be a Spurs fan to understand what it is. You can't quite put your finger on what's so special about Spurs, its history and tradition. It's just something that's in the ether. It comes with being a Spurs fan. It's a like undescribable ingredient. You know what I mean? That's what it is to me anyway. Because I've been following the club for nearly 70. Well, I'm 70 in January. Like I'm the youngest 17-year-old you lot will ever meet. And I've been following, and I should be following the club.
Sorry, how old are you? Did you say 70?
I'm 70 in January.
Oh, no,
so
my dad's
looking good, man.
Looking
70. Man.
So where was your mum 35 years ago, Hez? Or how old are you? Right.
Can I just say something about Klinsmann?
Yeah.
Hello.
Go on.
Can I just say something about Klinsmann?
Of course you can.
Yeah, of course you can.
Right, you've got now. Yesterday it was 30 years since we signed him, and and in my opinion, that was the last signing that we made that I thought, wow, look what we done.
What about Van der Vaart?
That was pure luck.
Well, he was on his way down. He wasn't like Klinsmann was at the peak of his powers the first time he come to us. And I thought, wow.
About that, Mark. I think Van der Vaart.
No. Van der Vaart, he was still good. He was still good, mind. Don't get me wrong. Van der Vaart was a hell of a player.
The thing with the Rafa signing, though, is
Ellie,
the day
can
before,
you do the chat because I'm struggling to keep up with it.
Yeah. Of course,
so if you follow it back and see where we left off the pad.
You guys might not know this, but the day before we signed Van der Vaart, right, he was available for 18 million, and Spurs didn't do it. It's only because he went down to 8 million on the final day that Spurs did the deal.
Yeah,
we're all cheapskates, aren't we? Right.
And
so
what do you expect? We live in Tottenham. We're cheapskates. That's how it goes, man. You play the game. We live in Tottenham.
TJ Scott M says TJ never apologised for having standards and wanting quality, despite what many Spurs fans will try to tell you different. Having standards is never a bad thing. Well,
100% agree with you, buddy.
We have some standards, but we always fail to add to the standards. You know, you've got to add, like Liverpool did when they had Van Dijk. They added him, and it transformed their season. From those seasons, for all those seasons that Klopp didn't win a cup, as soon as they had Van Dijk, they start winning. And you only need one or two. You don't need 10. You don't need 6 or 7. You need 1, 2, or 3 maximum to make a difference.
You know what I say. Just to add on to what you're saying, you hit the nail on the head. There has to be a point where you say enough is enough, and you call it quits. When I say call it quits, I don't mean call it quits as a Spurs fan. I'm a Spurs fan for life, but you have to call out what is wrong. And for me, look, again, this is just my view. I respect everybody's view. And if anybody gets offended with what I believe in, you can go right off to the Emirates, innit? But for me, it's been a failure. And until changes are made, we're going to always be like this.
Yeah.
The problem is, TJ, and this is the biggest problem that people don't need to clock onto. And if you haven't clocked on at this point, you should. Levy does enough just keep people just about interested.
Yeah.
And
he does enough to get us fourth.
Over and over and over again. We get almost there. But when we need the big 2, 3 massive players like Renat needed back in 2012, same we signed Zaha and Nelson, we didn't do it. Under Poch, we had the same scenario where Eddie Ali even came out and said this like a few months or two ago, saying we knew we were 2 or 3 short of winning like a title. Even he said it. And this has happened so
even up to now. Even up to now, we need a winger. We could have had Diaz from Liverpool. You didn't want to do it, but carry on. Sorry, carry on, bro. Sorry.
This cycle just keeps repeating itself. So what I'm saying is right now we're in the hope stage, right? There'll come a point under Ange maybe where we'll make Champions League or something next season. Everyone get hope again. Oh, we're going to push on, blah, blah, blah. We'll have another like average window and then the hope will just dissipate. Yeah. And then like 2, 3 years, maybe Ange will get sacked. They'll bring someone else in and we'll repeat the process.
I hope I'm wrong, though. I hope I'm proven wrong. I hope next year, like Angie's saying, we are going to go for the title. I hope. And you know what? Look, I'm a man of my word. One thing that you can put me to the book, I will come on here. I'll come on all the shows. Tottenham Away, Spurskins TV, this show. And I'll say, listen, Spursy Talks was wrong. TJ was wrong. Thank you, Levy. I will say it out loud. But until that happens, we're going to be in this cycle every single year. That's the biggest thing. I'm not saying.
Also, go for it. Like, bro, like now with Eze and Tony being linked, for example, or others, we're clamoring for a striker, So what I predict is going to happen is Richarlison will go to Saudi Arabia like a week before the window closes for like 60, 70 million. They'll go and get Jonathan David for 20 or something like that. And we'll go get Antony for like 40 because his price will have dropped by that point because they're waiting for it to drop because of obviously at that point he's got a year left or something and they'll obviously Brentford are going to get the asking price they want. But by that point, we could have lost another 9 points or 10
He's
points.
He's got 11 months left on his contract at the moment, and it will be into 10 months the day after tomorrow when you reach the 1st of August.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is they're doing, rather than getting him now for like a bit more, so he can bed into the team.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Out.
I agree with you, but his contract is already down to 11 months this month. And in 2 days' time, it'll be down to 10 months. So the fee was already starting to drop already. But I know what I'm saying.
He'll wait to like the last minute. He'll wait to the last minute to do it, and everyone go ballistic because we signed a player on the last day, as usual. But this is gaslighting, yeah? Because he's doing it on purpose because he brings you to the point of desperation. You're like, finally, we signed a decent player on the last day of the window. Yeah. So you're like,
it's true. That happens all the time. It happens all the time.
On the last day. This happens every season. With Porro, they longed that out for a month. They could have done that like the day.
No, Kaz, get your facts right there. We did not slow that down. They stopped us from signing him because they wanted him to play in the final. And same with Diaz. We were signing Diaz. He chose Liverpool over us. So we
didn't say Diaz. I was just
no, I know you didn't.
No.
TJ did.
No, I said it. I said Diaz. Yeah, please.
But what we've got to remember is we're talking about Eze. We're talking about Tony. Can you categorically guarantee me 100% that we are in for those players? Or
it's very likely.
No, I can't. I can't. No, but exactly. But the problem is our squad has gotten so poor we can't even pull people like Eze and Diaz and people like Tony.
I'm going to throw a question at you then.
The thing is, though, TJ, if they are our targets, then I do see us signing them. And it might be like Has says, it might be the last day of the season, and we might get them for 10, 20 million cheaper. If you don't think that's a good business deal, then that's fair enough. I get that.
Can I ask you a question? Wait, can I ask you a question? So, as you've just said, if they are our targets, we will sign them, yeah? Or okay, whatever, yeah? So, are you confident with the signings that we've made? We are going to we're going to challenge for the title?
No, I didn't say that at all. I've never said that.
It's just a question.
I don't even think we're in a position if we sign Eze to challenge for the title. I think we're still another season or two away from that.
Then why did Eze say he wants to challenge for the title?
No, what he said was, and I think the
context.
Words, I mean, unless I misunderstood what he was saying, and I think that it depending on how you look at it. When he was asked, is our aim top 4? He said no. I want to be challenging for a title. Now,
not that interview. The one after. Right. That was one of the interviews. Not that one. I can put. I wish I had control. I'd pull it up. The one after Arsenal. The one after Arsenal. He said, next year my goal. If I say it, I'm gonna butcher what it says, and then people are gonna come back at me. But he said something on the lines of, "My goals is to challenge next year." You know what? Next time I'm on, I will take a screen grab of it, and we will play it in the show.
TJ, I think that's one of those where you can take it 2 ways. You can take it as, right, next year we are going to be challenging for a title, or next year I would like to be challenging for a title. 2 very, very different terms, but said the same way. And I think it depends.
So if we don't, in my opinion, and this might sound, I'm a very literal person. That's something about me. I use my words and I select what I say. If we don't challenge, or if we don't come close to challenging, I expect Ange to be gone.
I don't. He signed a 4-year contract, and in the 4 years,
means nothing.
Hold on. It does at Tottenham, because Tottenham only ever sign managers on 18-month contracts and silly contracts like that. So they're not going to be here. There's no point saying that Levy does this. They're not going to be backed because they're only here for 18 months. There's stopgaps to see what happens and what goes on. They don't usually last, but with Postecoglou's been given a 4-year contract now, and the team around him has all been changed. Now, my hope, and it is my hope, is if you're going down that route, so I'm putting my blinkers on now, if you're going down the route to give your manager a 4-year contract, you're then bringing in a new director of football, you're changing everything about the club, then I think that if you're doing that, it's because you want to see it out. You want to see whatever plan's being put in place come to fruition. Now, whether that takes We want it to happen sooner rather than later. Now, whether the academy starts providing players in 5 or 6 years or whatever, the stepping stones have been put in this. Not just the manager, it's everything else that's been put in the club.
So why didn't Ange say, I need time?
Let me just finish, right, a second. So
Let
can
him
I
finish,
also
then I'll
say
come back to
that with the academy, right, if you speak to if you look at Pep Guardiola's interviews or Jurgen Klopp and people like that, they say their thoughts on academies are that when we came in and we changed the way that we want to play our football and we put emphasis into academy, they've turned around. This has come from their mouths, not mine. They've turned around and said it could take up to 9 years to get academy players through into your first team. So basically, what I'm trying to say at the club is what we've done is changed everything, not just the manager. We've changed everything else as well that we're doing. And some of the things we may have to wait a bit longer than what we want. And for that, I'm going to say the academy. All right, we've got some good players now, but the fruit of the academy should be born in the future and not just now. But then with the manager, like I said, the 4 years that has been given to the manager and changing everyone around him, I'm hoping that we've seen light that you can't keep chopping, you can't keep changing, you can't keep doing what we've done at Tottenham for years and years, because we've done it at Tottenham for years. We've the rinse and repeat. You guys know it. I'm not going to teach you how to suck eggs. The rinse and repeat cycle has happened for years. Now we seem to have got our ducks in a row, and we're going forward with a plan. And
I agree with you. I agree with you. But why would Ange? No, but this is. I agree with what you're saying. I 100% subscribe to what you're saying. I'm on your side here, brother. You're speaking my language. You're speaking English that's going right to my brain. We're on the same level. My point is, Ange never said, and he hasn't actually said this, we need to give them time. He said we're going to be challenging, which means the players that we have right now are going to be challenging. Hence why I'm saying this. If we don't challenge next year, I don't want him as my manager because I see him as a liar.
Because Ange said, it's a different. He said, I want to be challenging for the league. That's what I
exactly. That is his goals, right?
Terminology, and it comes with a different meaning, and it can be twisted. What I want to come to as it's been a question of quality players bringing in or not. You know, I mean, there's talk of Eze at 68 million, but right, I love Eze. I'd love him at the club, right? But I think our priorities lie wide right and as a striker before we even go to Eze. That's my opinion. Others might not agree with me, right? So would you, and I'm going to come to Jose, then I'm going to Mark and Ellie, give them a chance to speak before I come to you guys, right? Would you
can I smoke on this show by any chance?
Sorry?
Yeah, you do what you like.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. You know, some people people go over the moon.
Right.
Thank you.
So would you, for that 68 million, go for Chiesa at 20 mil, barring the due diligence done on his 2 cruciate injuries, and whether he can put up with the rigors of the Premier League? Because if he's got 2 injuries like that in the Italian league, he might get cropped early in the Premier. Would you go for Chiesa, say at 20 million, Tony at 40 million, right, or 45 million? That would be like 65 million, and bring a left back in, and forsake getting someone like Eze in for that amount of money and fill a couple of holes. I personally, my opinion, we definitely need a wide winger, right winger, and a striker before we get Eze. But I'd love to have Eze. If he comes in, I'll be delighted. So, Jose, to you first, then I'll go to Mark.
Right, I said, I don't know, 2 months ago or whatever on my channel that I would this year rate the transfer window, and if Ange is being backed and where we're going as a club at the end of the transfer window. We're not quite there yet. We're the 30th of July. It's my birthday today, and we're not
Happy
quite
birthday,
there yet.
bro.
Thank you very much. We're not quite there yet. We
Happy birthday,
cheers, mate. Thank you. We've got 31 days of the transfer window to go. It closes on the 30th of August. So I'm not going to judge it till the 30th of August. Now, what I will say is, for me, we definitely need a striker. Whether Richie stays or goes, we need competition. And also, with Richie, the problem that we've got, he don't stay fit. He hasn't played the whole season. He's not fit to play the whole season. He's always picking up this, that, or the other. Yeah, between between November and February, yet he played consistently a fair few games where he scored most of his goals and stuff. But he was injured at the start of the season last season. He was injured at the end of the season last season, and he's injured now. He's not reliable. So for me, we definitely need to bring in a striker. Whether Richie stays, goes to Saudi or not, a striker is a must.
Can I just read Andrew's quotes? Because I want to back up what
go on,
DJ
mate.
said. So this is on the interview on TT Sports before the West Ham game that we went and drew.
What, West Ham? It wasn't Arsenal. Sorry, yeah. I knew it was somewhere around them times.
So I'll just read the quotes. Asked if he expects a title push next season. Postecoglou told Standard Sport, "I hope so, or why am I doing what I'm doing? That's why I came to the club. As somebody said to me last week, just do your job, Ange, and my job is to try to bring success. And if you don't think you're going to be in the title race in 12 months' time, then I don't know why I'm here. We want to keep building on the foundation of being a team that hopefully in 12 months' time, people are talking about us differently."
Yeah. So basically, in context, he's saying, and he's been like this but he's been like this everywhere he's been. For him, because Tottenham fans talk about fourth place all the time as a trophy, right? He's been asked these questions, and he says, "No, I don't see fourth place."
No, but he wasn't asked the question about fourth.
Yeah, I know, but I'm talking about in general.
But you can't say it that way then, because it's
you see how I see it.
Okay, read.
You see how I see it, yeah? You know what?
Come on, guys. Come on.
Oh, sorry.
I understand your passion. That's
read that out again. Read that again. He doesn't categorically 100% state. He says, like to be and stuff like he uses them words. You've got to use the context. Stop putting words in his mouth. Use the context. You just read it out.
If you don't think you're going to be in the title race in 12 months' time, then I don't know why I'm here. Yeah. We want to keep building the foundation of being the team that hopefully in 12 months' time, people are
hopefully. He said hopefully. Okay, he said hopefully. We got to read when we talk about this. We got to read the context.
You know that's the problem. Can I be honest with you? Can I be honest with you? Look, the way I see it, and this is the problem I have. I can only speak for myself. I'm not speaking for Haz. I'm not speaking for the Spurs community, but myself. The problem is there's so much ifs and maybes. There's not certainty. Someone told me a quote, and this quote was really eye-opening to me. You don't know nothing. You don't believe in anything. You have to know something. So in order for you to know that you're going to be in a title race, you say you're going to be in a title race. I'm sorry, if you're going to be speaking about a title race, I expect the pitch to represent. And if Levy is backing him with his players, Werner, is he a title race player?
No.
So what we're talking about basically is fans' different perceptions of how to
determine
what Ange actually means in his press conferences, and we know that all managers are usually very ambiguous in what they say in press conferences. Mark, your take on this?
Well, it's just letdown year after year.
And the three players I mentioned, would you take Eze over, say, Chiesa?
Oh, Christ, I forgot you were even talking about that.
Yeah, and that as well. That's what we started.
What? Yeah? Eze over what? Who? Sorry.
Over, say, Chiesa, Tony, and a left back because we need one.
Well, I agree with what everybody else has said. Like, a striker is the number one position because we can't rely on Richie because he's always injured or he seems to get injuries.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I've still got hopes for Brennan Johnson. To be honest, because he's still young. But no. You know me, I'm as Levy out as they come. But I've still got hopes for him because he's still young. I've still got hopes for him. But if he's not going to make the grade, get rid and get someone else in. I mean, like, all this about, like, we got no money to spend. We're the 8th richest club in the world, for goodness sakes. And yet we're signing, people I've never heard of. I've got to Google them. It's a joke. It is a joke.
Ellie, on the subject, you haven't said anything for a while. Like, I want you have your say. On the subject of strikers, there seems to be a dearth of strikers out there. And I'm a bit bereft out of who to choose anyway. Have you got anyone in particular? Well, I've always said I wanted Dusan Vlahovic because I think it'd be perfect. But he's been the only one. The others out there, they all come with like sort of baggage or rumours that they're not good enough or whatever. Any particular one out there for you?
I'm with you on that one, Adrian. I love Dusan Vlahovic. I think he'll be perfect for our system. He's got great movement. He's brilliant in the air. He can do tap-ins. He can do worldies. I know you didn't have a particularly good season at Juve last season, but they were in turmoil. They were up and down. There was lots of things going on. But there's always something happening at Juve, isn't there? Either Paratici's nicking their players or there's some sort of scandal coming out of it. So I just think Vlahovic, or do you know that Gurakis? I can't pronounce that. Bucharest. I think he's a fabulous player as well.
We're going to buy another Swedish player. We've bought enough Swedish players already.
Yeah, but I think that would be the trio, wouldn't it? The song does go, gimme a Swede.
Right. I don't want to put a downer on Gurakis, right? But yeah,
we are reforming ABBA. It's the ABBA reform.
We just need to get Isak as well. Then we've got 4 Swedes.
He wasn't that good when he was at Coventry, and this is the mistake we make with a lot of players as well. He's had this one breakout season, very impressive amount of goals in the Portuguese league. I don't know what that league's like. He's got a lot of goals and assists, a great amount of goals and assists, but it's one breakout season. He didn't have anything like this when he was with Coventry. Ellie, hello.
I'm with you. Right, you broke up a bit, and then I broke up a bit. Yeah. Can I say something about the Postecoglou
Of course you can. You're an admin. You can say what you want.
Yeah. But I just wanted to add to that because you remember he said that he doesn't like what's going on behind the scenes. Right? He alluded to there was a little bit of turmoil going on, and I just think that he feels undermined at the club because I don't personally think he's a yes man. I think he's a man that knows himself and he wants the club to go his direction, but he's being pulled from pillow to post and he's being presented with these players and they're not his choice. That's my personal opinion. I don't personally think Werner was his choice. That's what I think because I hear things at the club. Right, and I'm not no expert or anything like that, but I know Postecoglou, he's a very strong-minded man, and if he feels like he's been undermined, right, I don't think he likes it very much, and like he alludes to that we're going to win the champions, we're going to challenge for the championships. Sorry, so obviously the man's got ambition, right? But are the club matching his ambition by getting all the players that we have to Google? Right, like that Yang, I don't know anything about him. Right, we've got 18-year-olds coming in, fair enough, they're for the future. But this is what I think we need, solid players in key positions to challenge for that title. And if we don't get them, because I saw his press conference, he looked really frustrated that we're not getting any signings in. He goes, the club are working hard towards getting our main targets in. So those main targets are still available. If we don't get them quick, other clubs are going to snap them up before us because those other clubs have won trophies and they're a lot more attractive to join than Tottenham Hotspur. But me personally, I just think Tottenham Hotspur have to get their act together because we're fed up of not winning anything. And I was from the era where we did win things. So I feel sorry for fans like TJ, especially, because he's probably...
I've only seen an Audi Cup.
Yeah, you see, so it's not right for you to
What about the you must have seen the Carabao Cup that we won, the last Carabao Cup we won.
When I was in my mum's womb. No, when I was when I didn't even know the concept of football.
In my opinion, we need.
You look a bit older.
I'm younger. I'm younger than that. Right. I'm a young fan. I promise you. I look old, but I'm young.
You're a young fan.
Yeah, I'm a young fan.
With Werner was one. He's not a proven goal striker, but I believe different to Ellie. We just share a different opinion here. I believe he was an Ange choice in January because he suits the system. I believe Werner was an Ange choice as well, even though we looked at him, he said yes to the deal. And the reason I believe he said yes to those deals because both players suit the system, whether they're good enough or not for us. They both suit the system. They're both fast players who hug the touchline. They suit the system. Getting him back on loan, I didn't want him, but I believe Ange wanted him. Ange wanted him because he believes he can do a job as a squad player. So he wanted him. So to me, Werner's on Ange, and I didn't want that Ange. And I queried loads of times, why are we bringing in a player who's not oven ready like Brennan Johnson for 47 million quid when we could go and get an oven ready player? So I queried all that, but we are where we are with the squad and the players we've got. And now we're going to have to move forward with what we've got. We're all frustrated because we don't know what the transfer window is going to bring. We need oven ready quality up front. The front three need a boost. Apart from Sonny, we haven't really got an out-and-out striker.
If we were a serious team, we will drop the money on Isaac, or we'll drop the money on Tom, or we'll drop the money on an established striker. Because for me, look, let me tell you, I failed maths, innit? But I know 110% there's Kane money. I know 110%. I know 110%. I can't tell you on here, but I know 110%.
I know it's there anyway because I know.
I can't tell you on live, but if you want to know something personal about me,
I can give you the figures.
I know 110% that the club makes a lot of money. So look, if we don't have, I don't know why we're not spending. Personally, I don't know why we're not spending.
Well, then this we'll see, won't we, down at the recruitment team? Listen, since 2019, according to Kieran Maguire, financial expert, Brighton supporter, gives lectures on football finances at Liverpool University, right? According to him, or words that have been attributed to him that I've read, because I wouldn't want to mislead anyone, since 2019, Spurs have spent £685 million on 29 players. Now, name 9 good ones, right? 29 players. That works out, that works out £137 million a season during a season after COVID when we lost revenue streams. Last year, we had our best year, right? 549 million we earned. And the way the new rules work, the SCR, I won't talk about FAP, I don't want to confuse you. The way the new SCR, which SCR stands for squad cost ratio rule work, you can spend 80% of your money after all football related expenditure has been taken off of what you earned that year. So we earned 549 million, right? Now in the financial report that I read, we had 251.1 million in wages. We owe 308 million, right, in transfer fees, agents fees, blah blah blah. That will be amortized over 5 years. So you can take 62 million off of that, add it to the 251. You're at 311, right? We know that when we go on money spinning away tours, we make loads of money, but we still have to stay in 5-star hotels and flights and stuff. And at home when you're traveling away to games and all that. Just say, for example,
what about the concerts? What about the NFL? What about all of this stuff?
Let me finish, right? So if you've got that 549 million, just say, for example, 349 million was football related expenditure. That's all you need to know now under the new rules, right? You've got 200 million left, right? You're allowed to spend under the new rules 80% of that 200 million. So in theory, if it's 200 million, Spurs would have to spend 160 million, right?
Perfect.
Fans always get into the habit when I listen to them on shows of saying, yeah, but if we bought 3 players for 70 million, that's 200 million of money. It doesn't work like that. You all know that if we only got 100 million to spend, we could put 20 million down on 5 different players that cost us 60 million each. That 200 million would have to go back on what we owe in agents fees and all that for the following year. But you could get 5. There is no excuse for this club not bringing players in. It's not about all these rumours about we can spend 400 million and all that. I'm telling you now, that is absolute rubbish, right? But we have money to spend. If there's a will, we can get these players in. The money's there to put the down payments on. The only time you hit a slight roadblock with bringing players in is when you get one who's got a release clause. And believe it or not, Ezzy's release clause, believe it or not, he gets a piece off that. Believe it or not, this is where his contract's going now, right? So he gets a piece of that. But if Palace wanted 68 million up front, that becomes a problem, right? Because you've got to weigh up, okay, we might have 137 million to spend again, right? If it's been the average of the other years, it should be roughly the same. But say it's only 120, right? So now you're going to spend 70 million of that, right, on one player if you've got to cough it up. So and now there was rumours with Eze in particular that Spurs months ago that we'd agreed terms with the player. And then later on, the thing that got my ears' attention was when it said Johan Langer had spoken with Crystal Palace. So now I think them conversations are parked while you've got all your list of players you're going around to see before you make a final decision. So I believe we can get the player in. And there's no reason why we can afford it. Let's put it that way. Right?
So what are we waiting for then?
No, we can afford it, but we won't go for it.
Good question. What are we waiting for? I don't know if the player's back yet. You've got add-ons. You've got and then it's a separate contract for merchandising rights as well with the players. Total stuff. Don't ever anybody convince you it's combined. It's not. Merchandising is separate. Players which you do a deal with the club over that as well. There are lots of add-ons and things to sort out with these sort of deals. I'm not making excuses for the club. I think if we wanted the player and we know that fee's going to be the fee and Palace are not going to budge, then go and get him. I'm not arguing fans on this. I'm not here to stick up for the club. I support the team. Always support the team more than I do the club or the board, But so the situation is money-wise, we can get who we want, basically, as far as I'm concerned. We couldn't buy 3 or 4 He's obviously, you know what I mean? But
we refuse to. We refuse to because all Daniel's interested in.
Fine. I agree with you on that point, Mark. I agree with you. That's the way it comes across.
Let me speak. All Daniel is interested in is 4th. And that is it.
I'm making money. I'm making money for himself.
As soon as we go 4th and the Champions League money rolls in, that is all he's interested in.
I'll always try and give a fact-based, balanced perspective. You know where I'm coming from. But
that is a load of rubbish, that statement. Daniel Levy is not only interested in 4th. If we could get 3rd, he'd be happy as well.
Well, all right, but he's not going to.
That's not that far. That's not that far.
That's not first.
And then if we could get 2nd, look. The point is, and sort of jumping backwards and forwards a little bit here, going back to what Ellie said, I'm with Adrian. I disagree with you as well because that statement where he was not happy was aimed at the backroom staff and the players and the fans all saying we want to lose against Arsenal to stop them winning.
No, it was
Man City.
To stop Arsenal winning the league. It was nothing to. Yeah, well, I mean, let's get it in perspective. He and the signing of Werner, he's definitely come out and praised Werner.
That's worrying then, isn't it? If he recruits Werner,
well, it depends because we all say that Werner isn't good enough for.
He couldn't hit a barn door.
Hey,
we saw him last year.
Why are we praising him? Why is he praising a player that was absolute pants?
He's playing an attack-heavy system. He doesn't score goals. So what's the point of getting him?
That's what I'm scared about, man.
Yeah,
that is the type of player that he wants in his team.
That's worrying, then, isn't it?
It isn't. It isn't. I mean, if you get somebody who Werner can put the ball into the middle, then he shouldn't be scoring goals. It's down to the striker. This is where I agree with all of you lot, where we say we need a striker or we need somebody that can put the ball in the back of the net on a regular basis. That is probably one position in the squad where you need a proven player. Now, you would go on about Tony. Tony does, to me, I don't think Tony suits the Ange system because, yes, he can score before you tell me that, but he doesn't do all the closing down and the chasing of the ball. He is an out-and-out sort of goal scorer. That is not what Ange wants. Ange wants a Richarlison who can score. That's what Ange wants. And we look at the players out there and we say, right, well, we need a striker. What striker fits Ange's system? If we go out and buy Tony, what happens if we get Tony from the last 6 months?
Isaac fits Ange's system.
How much is Isaac going to cost?
You pay for what you want. You pay for what you want.
Probably 150 million to go get Isaac.
And what's
you pay for what you want.
We haven't got that money to spend.
Right.
Why not?
It's just been explained to you. There isn't that sort of money to spend. We've just
Adrian
spent
said 160 million.
No, about
I'm
going
million.
take the average for the last 5 seasons, about 137 million. Now, maybe that's not.
Yeah,
I mean,
a player, that's 150.
Yeah, that's facts I've seen, but I mean, I haven't sourced them to double check them, but I'm pretty confident we've got 120 million to spend, minimum 120. And the thing is, you wouldn't, if you're looking at Isaac for 80 million or Osimhen for 80 or 90 million or up to 100 million, then you go and get Dusan Vlahovic, because if you dropped 70 million for him to Juve, they would bite your hand off. Right, I believe that, and to me, he would be perfect for. But that's my opinion on the player. I mean, like, other people's perceptions will be totally different, which is fair enough. That's fair enough. But so Isaac, to me, because I know what sort of fee would involve, I think we'd be getting a better player in Vlahovic. Personally, that's my opinion. But then, as Brian Daigle said in here, you could go and get Giroukis for less than that. Yeah, if you wanted to take a chance on him as well. So then,
it's actually more of a, in my opinion, more of a guaranteed goals in the Premier League from the off, because at least he's played it for 2-3 years.
The point is, you can have a great goal scorer, but if he doesn't fit the system, look what happened when Soldado come to Spurs.
No, I believe Isaac fits the system.
Not fit the system.
I believe he fits the system.
But in the end system, although
I believe he does.
I'm uncertain about Jonathan David. He's got the movement and the speed. I think he's more of a. I thought he's more of a tapping merchant too.
I don't know why everybody's shadowing Isaac. I believe Isaac fits the system.
I'm just not. When I've looked
at he's destroyed us.
Isaac does fit the system. He's a good player. Very, very good player.
Yeah, paid the money for him.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
and who's
an incisive forward, isn't he? Like, you know. And
how many teams? Seriously, how many teams are going to go out and spend 160 million in the Premiership on Isaac?
No one.
Let me be real. When you've lost, can I say something? When you've lost your main striker, you need to replace him with a like for like replacement. And for me, if you don't go for Isaac, you go for a like for like, and it's Osimhen. I saw in the comments people talking about Osimhen, like for like replacement. If we were serious, we would, but because we don't want to, we don't want to spend the money, we don't go for them players.
But this is the reason we're going for Koenig, because a year there is the cheapest
on the players, right? We're the 5th highest wage payers in the Premier League, right? I think we even overtook Arsenal, but I think that was because we had a bloated squad and we've got rid of lots of players that are on wages, right? So we even overtook them. It's not a question of that. People say get him and get him and get him, right? Osimhen's got Champions League football, right? Big difference. When players are in European competitions in Champions League football, right? If they're ambitious and got any ambition, they're not going to want to leave a club and go to a club that's in the Europa League. It's just not, I mean, because I would question their ambition in coming, right? So, I mean, a bit different probably with Isaac, right? But I mean, like, what, another Swede? We're in for all these Swedes, Ozzy. Do you know something we don't?
So,
you know what? We haven't actually mentioned Kulusevski playing in the striking position, because in our previous game, he did actually.
Sorry, TJ, I have I said this on the Sunday show, on Sunday when they asked me to come on. And what I said is there's many ways to skin a cat, and you can have your 9. Say at the moment, because the players we've got at the moment, you can use Son as a false 9, you can use Richarlison as a 9, but Kulu can be used as a false 9 as well. So there are different ways to skin a cat, is what I said. That's from the players that we currently have at the moment. I'd like to see others come in though.
Oh, of course.
Let me ask you this then. With the Eze thing, as much as I'd like him for his experience, with Kulu coming in at a 10, as well as Maddison, right? Bergvall possibly playing there. Devine and Donnelly can play there, right? Do you think these youngsters are given age for 40? You might be thinking, well, hang about. And I mean, because to me, my priority is right wing and striker. I'm going to focus on getting a right winger and a striker in before I even look at going back to someone in Eze. Do you think they might have turned his head a little bit or not, these youngsters?
I think all the youngsters could have turned people's heads, but there's no getting away from it. We need where we lack at the moment, we've got an abundance in midfield. We've got an abundant. Well, we're fairly stacked in defence. Still not enough for my liking, but we're fairly stacked in defence. Got loads of midfielders, with loads of different profiles. But it's the forward six that scare me, and any permutation of that forward six scare me. Now, I said on the show the other night, and I'll say it again, and I put it in my chats. If you went to bed tonight, and you went to bed tonight, and I told you your strike force, right, was going to be Chiesa, Tony, and Neto, or Chiesa, Tony, and Eze, or Eze, Tony, and Neto, whatever permutation, 3 out of them 4. How would you sleep tonight? And
I would have a boner.
Most of the people in the chat said they would sleep really, really well, because you're confident in your forward players, as opposed to what we currently have at the moment. We do need to buy some real good, potent attacking players, and whether that's a right winger and a centre forward, whether it's a left winger and a centre forward, whether it's 2 players that can play across the line, I don't care. We just need them. Buy them.
So, see what I'm worried about. I don't know if you guys saw Fabrizio's tweet. He said something like Spurs are only getting 1 more up front. You know, when
he doesn't know.
Can I say? And I said
he doesn't know anything. Has
they all
don't? They're all clever. Once something's been announced, or they're the first to get the slip of information that the club releases. They call them so-called experts. Really, they don't know anything.
Spurs are not interested in Chiesa. They're only looking for 1 more up front.
3 weeks ago has all these in the nose. Your O'Keefe's, your Romanos, your Pletty goals, all these tier 1 sources 3 weeks ago were all saying Tottenham are after 3 players. 3 weeks ago, all these sources were saying Tottenham have got money to spend big on a marquee signing.
Yeah.
Now, all of a sudden, some of these tier 1s and some crap journalists are saying Tottenham only buying 1 player.
It'll be 0 soon.
Maybe
it'll be 0.
Paz, take this as gospel. The sun won't rise tomorrow. It's having a day off. Don't believe everything.
We don't get the players. If we look forward. Look, if we don't get the players, then we can look forward to having a wonderful meltdown on here at a later show.
Every season, we go through these same arguments. That, we're linked with this player, we're linked with that player, we haven't signed him, oh, we didn't sign him, we haven't paid enough money for him, we haven't paid enough. Stop believing all the crap that is in the media. Until they sign for our club, then we haven't even approached them. How many times have we signed a player that none of us even knew we were in for?
Or sold a player.
Yeah, more often than not. The only time that we've been linked to a player where it's gone on and on and on, like we've said earlier, Porro. That wasn't us that stopped the deal, it was them. And several others. The media, if they don't come out with a new story every single day, we won't read them. And then they suddenly...
My reference was a tweet of Britso was saying we're not interested in Chiesa.
So was Ali Gold. Ali Gold's come out and said we've never even spoke to him. It's like, his agents come across to London. All our bloody staff are in Hong Kong or wherever.
Exactly it. Johan Lang is out in Korea, and they're spreading stories about their agent meeting our club at Tottenham. You can do it.
On the flip side, I just want to play devil's advocate. Devil's advocate, not to ruin you guys' moods. On the flip side, it could be a case of we've spoke to the player and it's too expensive.
Or he doesn't want to come.
Yeah. On the flip side.
If you have these conversations, if you're having these conversations, which I hoped we started from the day after the summer window closed last season, where you start looking at the players that you're interested in, positions that you're interested in, that, and you start having these conversations with agents. Does your player fancy coming? Is it, what would the deal look like and stuff like that? So behind the scenes, I'm hoping these conversations are taking place. And if an agent turns around and says my player doesn't fancy coming, then there's no point pursuing that any further. Drop him like a stone because he doesn't want to come. The only players that Tottenham should want at this club are the players that want to come and play and wear the badge, because there's too many players out there, my friends. They get paid extortionate amounts of money, and they don't care about the fans. They don't care about the club they're going to. They're just there for the payday. And we don't want that at Tottenham. What we want at Tottenham is want players to say yes, to come to Tottenham because they want to play for the badge, they want to play for the club, and they want to play for us, the amazing fans that support this club.
Right, we're going to move on now, right? The transfer window is going to go for another 3 weeks before the season starts and 2 weeks into the season. Let's hope that we get a business done next week, so at least any players coming in get a bit of time at Hospital Way with the manager. Right, what I want to talk about is Football News London. I sent you all the run sheet. I usually send you a run sheet about how we're going to go in, yeah? London Mayor Sadiq Khan thinks that in the near future, Premier League games will be played in the USA. I've made some bullet points, so I'm going to let you lot all cover this, right? Now, if that happens, are we going to see games like Saudi Arabia, Korea, China, Malaysia, India, Africa, Japan, Australia, New Zealand? Who's going to pick the games that are going to be played? Would it disadvantage teams playing in the Premier League and European competitions? You know, then you've got to consider players' welfare. And surely if that was to happen, they're only going to want to cherry pick the best teams from this country that have got the biggest fan bases in America. You know, so Liverpool, Man City, Man United, Arsenal, Chelsea, Spurs, even European giants, Bayern, PSG, Juventus, Barcelona, Real Madrid, who would love the opportunity, I reckon, to break the financial stranglehold the Premier League has on world football to close the gap on us. I mean, and this I thought would be a very interesting. I love lobbing banter grenades into the mix, you know. So to me, what happens if they choose the Spurs home game with Arsenal to play in America, right? To compensate for a disadvantage, right? Wouldn't Arsenal's home game with Spurs then have to be paid to America as well to even it up? I mean, wouldn't that be fair? I mean, we know this is all about money. I can see some of it coming, right? But I don't see it. I don't know. I don't know what actually will happen, obviously. I mean, you could play the Charity Shield abroad. You could play mini tournaments before our top teams in America each time, you know. And then the question is, would the Premier League agree to games being played abroad? Would the new government football regulator agree abroad? So, Jose, I'll come to you first. I know I've said quite a lot, made quite a few bullet points.
Go to Haz. Haz has put a comment in the private chat.
Go on, Haz.
Well, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I do not want Premier League games played abroad.
We don't like short and sweet. We like people to say something.
I don't want Premier League games being played abroad. I think it's going to cause massive disruption for the fans and the players as well, especially when we're talking about players like countries like Saudi Arabia, New Zealand, the other side of the world. And also when you mentioned about cherry picking certain clubs to go and certain clubs not to go, I think it will cause problems in the sense of like certain clubs who won't go will probably kick up a fuss because obviously they'll earn less money. But it will just destroy football, in my opinion. I think the Premier League game should be played in England, no matter what the circumstance. Stuff like maybe Community Shield. Okay, maybe that's an idea to play in the USA, like, and see how it goes for once. But we're talking Premier League games that have to be in England.
I mean, they could argue, couldn't they? They could say, well, we can say travelling welfare of players, but they do
and
bring
the fans as well.
They do bring American football teams over here. Admittedly, it's for one game though, or a game at Wembley and a game at Spurs. They could argue the toss and say, well, look, you know, you do that anyway. I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate there. Mark, what's your take on this?
Yeah, guys, I've got to go. Thanks for having me on, Adrian, again.
Hang on.
Well done, Haz.
I put his channel in the chat about 10 minutes ago. If you want,
did you? Put it up
we
again.
can search for it.
If you put it in again down lower, I'll find it. I mean, we've had 54 in the chat tonight, which is very good.
So when he puts it in there, if you just star it, then you'll always. If you star it, then you'll always have it.
Okay. There you go. It's in there now. If you want to bring that up before he goes.
And if you put a star next to it, Mark, as well. If you can lock the star it, then you. Can
I can't do it.
Okay, one of you guys can star it.
I can do it. What do you want me to star?
Just put a star on that comment that he's got there on Haz's channel, and then if you keep that starred, you go into starred comments at the end, and you can bring them all back again without having to search for them. So that's just Haz's channel. People sub over to Haz.
Yeah. I ain't bother putting yours in, Josie, because we've got your channel running.
On the subject of the 60 odd in the channel, that's fantastic for us. We are relatively a new podcast, but we seem to be rapidly gaining momentum. which is good for us and good for you. If you like the content, that's great. If you like the content, though, please subscribe to the channel and leave a comment on the videos, guys, because that really helps us with the algorithm. Okay, so thanks for that. Big up to you in the chat, and a very big up to those of you that can be bothered to watch us on playback. So back to the discussion. Mark,
cheers,
Has. Well done, mate.
Yeah, back to the discussion about the possibility of Premier League matches being played in America, because we know.
Oh no! That's complete nonsense. Like, it's just a money making. Well, it's like our tour over in the southeast, wherever it is at the moment. It's just money making. That's all it's going to be. I mean, who are they going to decide has got to fly out to America or wherever it's going to be? You know, and it's like, you know, and then you got the fact, like, whoever's at home for the home game, do their season ticket holders get a discount because one game's not at home? You know, I mean, it's just a money making thing. It's just the Premier League trying to monopolize the whole world. You know, because let's face it, the Premier League monopolizes football now because all the big players want to come over here now. I remember in the 90s when all the big players wanted to go to Italy or Spain, but now all the big players want to come here. So it's all it's all a stranglehold on football. Soon the Premier League, if they get away with this, they just, well, you know, it's just going to be a monopoly for the Premier League, and that's wrong. That is totally wrong. It's all Sky and that anyway. It's all because all this started with the Premier League when Sky got involved with it, and that's where all the money started pouring in. And fair play to them, I suppose. But, like, you know, it's not my cup of tea.
Ellie, what's your take on this?
I'm against it because I don't like our game being spoilt by taking our games over to America. It's ridiculous. I'm with Mark on this one because I just feel if you're going to do that, you're taking away our club to foreign shores so we don't even get to watch them at our ground. It's ridiculous. I can't see it. I can't see the fans not rebelling against this, because when you think about it, that's your club and they're playing thousands and thousands of miles away, right? It's all right when it's a friendly or if it's a pre-season, fair enough. Give these fans something to look forward to, when you go on the tours. But when you're taking proper Premiership games away from the Premiership and away from us fans who've been supporting the club all our lives, I just think it's really unfair and immoral, to tell you the truth.
TJ?
I agree with everybody. Look, let me be honest with you. I doubt it's going to happen because I don't see how it will end up happening. Football was made for the UK. The Premier League is a UK sport. The English Premier League is UK. So play the games in the UK. If it's a cup competition, like, I don't know what we can throw away. The Carabao Cup. Not even that. Look, I just don't see how it's going to work. I think it's going to be too expensive on the average Joe. Because if you think about it, it's going to be the major teams. So let's just say a Tottenham and Arsenal. Let's just say we go fly to USA. As you know, we don't have a big market of USA fans. There's a few here and there,
we do. We have the fastest growing fan base in there. We've got more than one supporter club in every state in America now. So we might have over 100 supporters.
Yeah, but majority is Arsenal. Sorry to say that, because most of the fans over there are Arsenal fans.
And Man United.
And you saw it. And you know,
yeah.
If you went beyond.
They've won all the Champions League. They've got the biggest support abroad, Liverpool, Man United. You know,
so I just don't see how it's going to work, to be honest with you. I think it's a scam. And I don't think fans are going to like it. I personally, I don't think it's going to fall through, because there's going to be loads of teams, Arsenal, Man City. You know what? Depends on how the top 6 takes it. If they say, yeah, it's good, I can see big changes happening. But I don't think there's nothing for us to worry. I don't think it's feasible.
Would it necessarily be the top 6? Would see, this is the thing, you know, Premier League might be devious and cunning. They might want this, and they might decide to push for this. All right, you've got to have I think it is 14 votes in the Premier League to vote for changes, but they might want to push for this and disguise it under their name rather than like fans going mad against their clubs, you know. What do you think?
Are you asking me?
Fair, look,
I'll come to you next, Jose. I'm going to come to you next.
Yeah, look. To be fair, if it's a case of they disguise it as like, oh, this is the change, I don't see how it's going to go well with the fans in UK, because for me personally, going to a match game already is very expensive if you're not a season ticket holder. Now you're adding a flight and a hotel, and then obviously drinks and food. It's going to be too expensive. I just don't see it happening, man. It's not feasible. It's not. I can't see it happening. I think it's one of them stories that they're just like, you know, they're just putting it in on the surface, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah. Tose, do you think there's a possibility the Charity Shield will play out there, or that there would be mini tournaments out there? Say Spurs, Arsenal, Man United and Liverpool playing in a mini tournament pre-season? You kind
of caught me on the hop, right? Because I don't get the run sheets, but I always say clearly I don't want any run sheets because I want to be surprised on the questions that I'm being asked, so I don't prepare my answers before I come on. Mm-hmm. So I never get a run sheet. So can you say that to me again? Sadiq Khan said this, did he?
Well, there was a big discussion in Talk Sport about this. I think rumours was So basically, there was a talk about Premier. He was talking about he can see it in the future that Premier League games could be played in the US, and then like obviously the media, if they ain't got enough to talk about with transfers, they've took this up. You know what I mean? It's come on like. So you've had they've been having bits of a debate on it, and I was giving it a lot of thought. If it did happen, what the effect, pros and cons would be, and the effect it could have, or could it have, or partially happen. You know, I mean, I could see if it's about growth in America or even abroad, I could see the Charity Shield played abroad personally. I mean, clubs had played in mini tournaments abroad pre-season, so I can see that.
They played the Premier Cup out there at the moment in the summer in the summer season, right? But what I will say, right, is I needed to ask you again because, as I said, one, I don't have the run sheet, and two, I wanted to make sure that I'm. When you started saying Sadiq Khan, I thought to myself, what's he going on about Sadiq Khan for? Now that you've repeated it again, because I had to write 3 things down, and one was Sadiq Khan, my second one was Premier League, and my third one was government. They're the words that you used earlier, right? Yeah. Now, for on the panel now, there's 2 of you left that know about Sadiq Khan because 2 of you still live in London. Yeah. So the two on the other side of my screen, you both still live in London, right? So you all know about Sadiq Khan, right? Sadiq Khan has got no say whatsoever on football. He might have an opinion, right? But that's as far as it goes with Sadiq Khan. Sadiq Khan has got no sway and say, right? The Premier League, if the government are preparing this task force, then the Premier League don't want the task force, by the way.
No, the regulator is coming in though.
Yeah, I know it is because the government want to bring it in, and
it's been through. It's been passed in Parliament.
But they'll bring it in, and it will put the Premier League to task. So at the end of the day, when you look at this quote that you just said to me, it's a non-starter from the off. Sadiq Khan is an absolute, and it doesn't not worth the paper it's printed on, whatever he says. The Premier League will have no say-so on it whatsoever because the government's task force team that are coming in will oversee absolutely everything, and the government will dictate this. So I see it as a non-starter straight away. Straight away. I don't have to say anything more. As soon as I get to the government, that's it, done.
Anyone else want to sound that? We'll move on. All right. Well, then we'll move on to the light-hearted section.
Is it feasible though? Do you believe it could end up happening? Because for me, I can't just look. Playing the cups, yes, maybe, but Premier League games, impossible.
Well, did you believe that the European Super League was a threat?
But what about the home and away advantage? What will happen there?
So in Spain, TJ, what they've done is the cup final, so the equivalent to the FA Cup here. It's not as big as the FA Cup. It's not as prestigious, but the final of the cup in Spain is now played in Saudi. So because it's a final, they play that in Saudi. But the issue with the Spanish league and a lot of other leagues in Europe is they're on their knees. They're absolutely skint. So therefore, they've sold their rights to go and do stuff like that once a year only for the cup final in Spain. Don't have their money problems here in England. They don't have their money problems at all with the Premiership. So therefore, I don't see that happening at all. Even a Charity Shield game, I don't see it happening. I think the government will step in, and whatever the Premier League want to do, and maybe the big fat cats, what they want to do, I don't think. I think the government will rein it back in. To be honest.
Yeah. And if you know, if we get like oil magnates come in, or Russian oligarchs, you know, or rich Arab sheikhs decide to leave and take their money with them, well, then goodbye, because the Premier League will always make money without them, make enough money out of TV and advertising and everywhere else. So, like, it's not as though we're desperate for them, you know. If anything, they've corrupted the game. We know what's going to happen shortly in November when City go and Chelsea haven't been charged yet, but that's for another show. Right, I want to move on to the last section. Well, it's the light-hearted section. We like to finish lightly. It's been very good. People have been passionate, expressed different points of view. It's what we like, right? And we keep it mature and sensible in Spurs Diehards at all times. Just for some of you in the chat, right? Now, I will post most people's comments all the time and spread them out because I like to be an invigilate and be fair to all. But if someone constantly posts negative stuff all the time, you'll probably get about 1 in 5 of your posts posted, you know, because this show wasn't about that today. It's different when you're doing a critique on something, but if others, there's been one person in particular, I'm not naming in here, who's just started from the very beginning. He just came in and went bang, 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 negative, and some of it was like, it wasn't even what we were talking about. You know, please stick with the program and post negatively or positive about what we're talking about. Mark takes his views totally opposite to others on here. I mean, I'm a bit middle of the road. Ellie's a bit more leans towards Mark. Hosey's a bit middle of the road. TJ's everything. You know what I mean?
I'm sideways. I'm upside down.
TJ's got
So section, in the chat that don't know, what we do at the end of each show, we ask all our guests for a favourite Spurs player, not the same one when they return, a different one, a particular Spurs victory and a special goal. And we ask them how they become a Spurs fan. If they've answered before, we won't ask them again. So we'll start with TJ as his guest, then we move to Mark, and then Mod Mark, and move to Jose, and then Mark, right? So TJ, have we asked you how you became a Spurs fan on the show before?
No, you haven't.
Right, okay.
No, you haven't. You know what?
We'll answer the question then.
You are gonna laugh.
Go on.
Once upon a time,
go on.
I was a Man City fan.
Oh God.
Yeah, and
did you take a
it's
pill
only
for
because
that?
my dad, let me be honest with you, it's only because my dad was a Man City fan, and I bounced from London to I used to live in Leicester, and we would go to see games. And what ended up happening was I moved to London, and I ended up in Tottenham. And
come on, Tottenham.
That's when I hit maybe 6, 7, 8, 9. I started going to Tottenham games. And in fact, where I live, I used to be able to look inside the old White Hart Lane. You know, not the full pitch. I wouldn't be able to see the full pitch. Where I live right now, everybody knows where I live. You walk past it every single match day. If you go to match day, you would understand. I could see inside of the old White Hart Lane.
Leave you stop that immediately now, mind.
You know what? I just fell in love, and for me, the schools I went to, there was all Arsenal fans, there were Chelsea fans, there were United fans, and I was the only Tottenham fan until I met one other person, and I thought, wow. But that's my story.
Okay.
I wish I stayed a Man City fan. No, jokes aside, jokes aside, I'm you know what, look, jokes aside,
You still got me laughing.
I have, look, personally, jokes aside, I'm deeply in love with Tottenham, and it just frustrates me to see them struggle so much, and when you see like Arsenal at the top of the table challenging, when really that's where we should be. Because again, look, I'm a young fan. I've been supporting Tottenham for what, 18, 19 years? Well, or not, maybe less, 15, 16 years of my life. And yeah, it's like, it's just a roller coaster. It's the roller coaster. But
I wasn't meaning you. Right. Now, give me a favourite Spurs player, a particular Spurs victory, and a special Spurs goal. And don't repeat them when you come on another show with us. So start with a favourite Spurs player.
Oh, personally for me, it has to be Gareth Bale.
Oh, okay. A particular Spurs victory. Who did you like that we smashed in a particular game, or was it a cup game, or
a victory? You know what? Look, a lot of people are going to say this moment, but generally, this was the best point of my life as a Spurs fan when Lucas Moura scored the winner to take us to the final. I thought that was
right, okay.
Yeah, and
a special Spurs goal from any game. Wonder free kick, worldie strike, whatever.
Dele Alli's famous volley, if you remember, 2015.
Over his shoulder.
2015-16. That was quality. Yeah, that was quality.
When we do the real humorous section, when we do the Spurs empty trophy cabinet, I'll come back to you, right? So, Jose, give me a favourite Spurs player.
I'm going to say, only because it was his anniversary yesterday, I'm going to say Jurgen Klinsmann, because I've already been asked this before. Okay. So now I'm going to say Jurgen Klinsmann.
Right, a particular Spurs victory.
The one I'm going to say, I'm going to stick on Jurgen Klinsmann. One that sticks in my memory was Sheffield Wednesday when we beat them 4-3.
Okay.
Yeah.
A special
the one where he done the dive.
Which worldie did you like? A special Spurs goal.
A special Spurs goal. I'm going to stick with the theme. I'm going to stick with that game. You can pick any two of Klinsmann's goals in that 4-3 victory.
Right, I'll come to you, Mark. Favourite Spurs player? I think I know it's going to be.
Well, I said Hoddle. But like,
what a player, man.
Do you really need to hear the Gary Mabbutt story again?
Okay, we know it's Gary Mabbutt then, yeah. But a particular Spurs victory, not one you've chosen before.
Do you need to hear the Gary Mabbutt story?
Okay, yes, go on then.
Yeah, all right. Well, I was 20 years old in 1991, and I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. So Gary Mabbutt became my hero immediately. Yeah. And I went to the 6th round game at home to Notts County, and then I went in hospital, but I was out by the semi-final when Gaza, because I can see Brian Daigle's comments about Gaza and that, when Gaza did his magic in the semi-final. And when Gary walked up the steps when we won the cup in the May, as he's going up steps, the BBC commentator said, now bearing in mind, I'd only just come out of hospital. I'd have been out of hospital about a month, maybe. And I was still confused. I didn't know what I was doing. They just said to me, you got to jab yourself for the rest of your life. I was like, God above, what's going on? And as he's going up the steps, the BBC commentator says, oh, Gary Mabbutt, he's battled diabetes all his life, and here he is lifting the FA Cup. And I thought, yeah, yeah, if he can do it, then I'm going to be all right, you know. So Gary is my ultimate hero. I've met him twice, and he is the loveliest. He is the loveliest.
Oh my goodness. My favorite player, Jermaine Defoe. Forget what I said about Gareth Bale. Jermaine Defoe. He made me fall in love with Tottenham, in fact.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right.
It just came to my head.
Oh, a particular Spurs victory, Mark.
Jermaine Defoe, who's you do?
Yeah, it's got to be the 3-1 against Arsenal at Wembley when Gaza did his magic.
You mentioned the A word. We've got to play
Arsenal get battered everywhere they go. Arsenal get battered everywhere they go. Everywhere they go. Arsenal get battered everywhere they go. Arsenal get battered everywhere they go.
Right.
Honestly, because TJ mentioned it just a minute ago, I didn't think you were on top of this tonight.
I must be getting tired in my old age, I suppose. Like, yeah. Okay, so and then we're down to a special Spurs goal, a worldie, or any special Spurs goal. Just pick one. Save all the others for the next show, right?
Yeah. All right. I'm going to say Gareth Bale against Stoke. That
was a good one.
Oh yeah, fantastic.
That volley.
Oh, brilliant.
Okay, so
you
now
know,
we
I
go
was there.
Oh, was you?
Was you?
I was there as a little kid. I was there, in fact. Yeah.
Moving on to Ellie, favourite Spurs player.
Well, it goes without say, it's the one and only god of football, the best footballer I've ever seen in my whole life, and that includes Maradona. It's Glenn Hoddle, because he had everything. He had everything: vision, passing, goals. He said, "I'm a scorer of great goals," which he was. He's fabulous. The one against Watford.
A particular Spurs victory?
It'll have to be the 3-1 victory against Arsenal.
You mentioned Arsenal.
I was right there. Gaza ran straight to me. I'm telling you, he saw me in the crowd and he was running towards me. Then Vinny Sandways ran behind him with a like that. It was so brilliant. And the commentary by Barry Davies, epic.
You mentioned Arsenal. Wrong tune.
Arsenal get battered everywhere they go. Arsenal get battered everywhere they go. Everywhere they go.
Right, okay. You mentioned Arsenal for a special Spurs goal.
So many. But I have to go for that Glenn Hoddle goal against Watford. Absolutely sublime. He takes Gary Brook back to goal, and within one swivel, he's lobbed the goalie and made him look like an idiot on his arse.
Steve Sherwood, the goalkeeper for Watford.
Yeah.
The big, tall, massive goalkeeper he was, Steve Sherwood.
And like the reaction of Hoddle when he just goes on his arse and slides across the pitch. Yeah. I wasn't there for that one, though. I was at home, but when it went in, it was such a brilliant goal. It's the best goal I've ever seen in my life, because the way he took it is similar to Bergkamp's one, right? But I think Hoddle's was better because it was far out and he was back to goal. I mean, there were so many goals that Hoddle scored, but I want to give a special mention to Steve Perryman, because Steve Perryman, our club captain, without Steve Perryman, Hoddle couldn't have done what he did, because he was the workhorse who fed Hoddle the ball. He won it for him, he got it to him, and Bill Nicholson gave him an instruction: get the ball, Steve, give it to Glenn. So he can do his stuff. And what a magical player. And I had the pleasure of meeting him recently last season, and I got to ask him a lovely question about Johan Cruyff. Johan Cruyff said, "Who is Glenn Hoddle?" And then he played against him when he played final. He set up 2 Tony Galvin goals, and he was talking about that as well. And Johan Cruyff goes. Now I know who Glenn Hoddle is at the end of the match.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back and see this player play. I thought it was absolutely fantastic player, and he's still alive today. He's about 88, I think. Or something like that.
I know.
I'm gonna pick Cliff Jones.
Whoa,
For the
what a
goal
great
he scored. Whenever Cliff Jones used to get the ball, the crowd used to say it was half a goal. He was a goal scoring winger. What a player! What a player!
Yeah, brilliant.
And for a particular victory, I'm gonna pick the victory, the 2-1 FA Cup final against Chelsea in 1967 when Jimmy Robertson and Frank Saul scored for Spurs. Oh,
I wasn't even born.
And we will play these funny clips, guys. When
I wasn't born then either, just to let people know.
we will play these funny clips,
clips.
even when they get mentioned in the chat channel. But obviously, we know the chat can get a bit waggish at time. We don't want to be playing them every 5 minutes, right? Right. Right. So special goal for me. God, I've seen so many.
I know.
I'm gonna Ricky Vila's goal in the FA Cup final.
Oh yes,
Man City. I mean, that is. I mean, I still think it rates as probably the best goal ever scored at Wembley in a cup final. I'll go with that one because my
I got the shirt on, Adrian.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I said to Mark earlier, actually, when he was in the back room, we'll go in the back room later and we'll have a little bit of a chat after. But I said to Mark, you know what? That Lecoq Sportif shirt is probably my favourite. And I don't buy Spurs shirts because sweatshirts, these T-shirts, hoodies and all that, they're timeless. You can wear them every year for year after year. You know,
yeah.
That is probably one of my favourites. I like the one with the shield on it, protect the cockerel, the old retro one as well, because it's like a double side, you know, like that as well. Yeah, so that's on that. So now we come to the fun part, a really fun part, bit humorous in this. And you can play around with this each show you come on, right? It's called Spurs Empty Trophy Cabinet, right? Guests can pick a single football-related thing or object that you dislike and banish it to Spurs Empty Trophy Room. Bit like Room 101, if people have seen it, right? Now, examples, it could be a pundit on the radio or Sky Sports or Talk Shite, a referee, a manager, a coach, a player. It can even be a fashion item, a piece of particular food you hate, a piece of technology, an unnecessary gadget, a celebrity or a sportswoman that you abhor. Right, now, I'll tell you who we've got in at the moment, right, because I'll add to these. I won't be able to read them out when the list gets hundreds long. But we've got Jason Cundy, I put him in there. We've got Dama Lerner for the handball decision against Spurs in the Champions League final, the referee. We've got Anthony Rudiger, because Brad Matthews dislikes him. We got the offside decision against Jan Vertonghen, Spurs versus Sunderland, when he was a yard and a half, right? We got the Matty Cash for the Bentancur tackle, right? I put gift vouchers in because how did the public get conned into getting gift vouchers? You take perfectly good money you can spend anywhere on the planet and you put it in a gift voucher you can only spend in one place, right?
Yeah. Ridiculous.
Right? Then we got obvious one, Paul Merson, Spurs bias. Mark Clattenburg for disallowing Pedro Mendes' goal at Manchester United when it was a yard in the net. Daniel Levy obviously got in there.
I put him in there.
Is Piers Morgan. Now, when I come to TJ and Jose next, when you give me your victims, right, I've got to write them down because I've got to compile this list.
Did I give you Sunday, Adrian? I gave you someone on Sunday.
If you did, I didn't write it down.
I gave you some on Sunday.
You give me it again if you remember it.
I can't remember I gave you Sunday.
Who do you hate? What presenters do you hate? Hosts? What footballers do you hate?
Do you know I gave you Sunday?
Go on.
Darren 2 Bob Bent. I gave you Sunday.
Yeah, we got Darren Bent on here. Yeah,
I gave you Sunday. Yeah, I gave you
Darren Bent. Piers Morgan.
Bob Bent.
Right, David. What was it? Durham or something? Do you like him on the radio or? You could even go for Jamie O'Hara or players like, or you pick a player, a sports celeb you hate. a cheating sports celeb or someone?
Can I go
Well,
last? Because I'm trying to think.
Okay. I've got mine ready.
Go
Right?
on.
I'm putting Judas in there.
Oh, Sol Campbell.
Oh, Campbell.
Judas. I'm putting Judas in there.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I suppose he loves it.
I would never
Judas.
because I don't do hate, guys. For you in the chat, I don't do hate at all. I mean, I will never sing that song, and I never sing the song "Stand Up If You Hate Arsenal," "Stand Up If You're Chelsea" or West Ham. It's just not me. I understand why fans do it, obviously, but I mean, I don't do it. Right?
That's because they're in your way, Adrian.
Who we got?
Right now, Ellie's already mentioned him, Diego Maradona, for what he done in 1986.
I do know
that. All right. I'll
His
give you
hand's slipping on his bowl, shouldn't it? Really?
That's because he wore a Tottenham shirt, didn't he?
I'll give you the second one he scored wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't too shabby, was it?
No, it was all.
Ellie, women are usually kind. Don't be kind. Go for the jugular. Who are you picking?
I'm going to put Claire Balding in. I don't like
her. Anthony Gordon. Anthony Gordon from Newcastle.
Claire Balding. I just don't like her.
Baldwin or Baldwin?
Balding.
She's just a commentator. She's doing horse racing.
No,
she plays for Newcastle. She goes under the name Anthony Gordon.
All right. TJ, have you thought of anyone yet? I see the cogs whirring. I can hear them crunching and grinding, and smoke's coming out your ears now. And you
know what? Yeah,
that way.
There's one player that I hate, but I hate so much. But you just have to love him sometimes, isn't it? But I hate him. I hate him with a passion. But sometimes what you see what he's doing. Look, for me personally, innit, yeah, because I have a lot of Arsenal friends. It has to be Saka. Saka.
You hate him,
yeah, man. I hate him with a passion. Okay. I hate him with a passion. Honestly, you know what? Yeah, it's one of them ones where you know you've got a good player, but it's like, how good could he get? That's the problem. That's the problem. Because I think Saka has all the formula. I hate him. I hate him.
I hate him. Well, to be honest, they made a new category up. There's expected limps coming in this season. For how many times he's going to limp off at the end?
They're going to call it a Saka walking stick.
Yeah, no, he's a quality player though. To be honest with you, look. But I hate him. I hate him. I honestly hate him. He's a quality player. You have to give him credit where credit due.
He's passed all his exams with A stars. He's the perfect lad, but you just have to hate him, innit?
I hate him. Look, you know what? It's more deeper to me. It's more deeper to me because I have my friend groups.
Whatever. Post them up, please. Post them up in the chat.
It's more deeper for me because most of my friends are all Arsenal. You know, and I'm having to watch Werner. So that's why I hate him a lot. But look, it is what it is, isn't it? It's what it is.
Go on, Hoddle. We've got Hoddle. They've just got Saka, so they can do one. Arsenal, he's nowhere near Hoddle's level.
Someone's saying O'Hara in the chat, which is pretty good. I mean, it's not
anyone who wears a West Brom shirt.
Good day, Codley Cover. I wonder who's calling Cotley. Is it me?
Elliot's bang on. I can't stand that bird.
I know. She just annoys me. She just annoys me because she's a know-it-all.
Is Mike Dean in the cabinet? He needs to go as well.
Not yet, but
he needs to go as well. In fact, I take Saka out. I put Mike Dean in.
Yeah, all you have to do with Mike Dean is put him a little Hitler moustache, and he's Hitler.
Yeah.
Where is the pen? Oh, right, here it is. Right, okay. I'll write down Mike Dean. Okay.
There's so many referees I've hated down the years.
No, Mike Dean's the worst though.
Yeah, Mike Dean.
Yeah, it might be into worse.
I know.
VAR. In fact, what am I doing? VAR needs to go in there. The whole of VAR. In fact, the
We'll have
whole
to
of
say
VAR.
VAR and
My-
Clattenburg either. Ugh.
all of a sudden the brain's kicked into gear. TJ.
Oh, of course, yeah. You know, I started off light, with the Saka one, but that's because I was thinking of my surroundings, because I'm surrounded with Arsenal fans. But
right,
VAR, man.
What I want to do is thank you for your time. Thank you for coming on. I really want to give you a real big up in the chat, especially all those that have been watching this. A big up to all of you that are watching on playback as well. It's been a great show. Passions have come to the surface at times, but we like that. I mean, it's no harm in it. They're all good intention guests on this show. If you feel passionate about something, let's hear it, right? So that's all well and good. We'll continue to bring you fact-based, we like to think objective content, but people can lean whichever they want on any debate and anything we debate. That's not an issue with us. We don't discriminate against people like that. So once again, I want to thank you all in the chat. Thank all you again. Big up to all of you that are watching on playback. I shall play you out with this, which is the song from when we beat Liverpool 2-1 and Matip put the home goal in. And I'll see you guys in the back room.